It's back. Welcome to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace for round number 1 of the iRacing Road Pro Series. As all coverage today will be on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Qualifying action right there at the moment. 10 minutes remaining in this session. Only 3 laps available for the drivers this afternoon. Jonathan Swan in the commentary booth alongside Jake Sperry and Connery Maddock. And Jake, here we are. We've had a short break after the World Championship. Everybody's raring to go here after qualifying, and boy, do we have a good name of drivers here for this field.
Oh, we certainly do. With 15 minutes and 3 laps of qualifying, it means everyone has an opportunity to set those big lap times before the start of a brand new road to the proverbial pro. And everyone, just a little bit of anticipation. Drivers returning after seasons out of the iRacing World Championship. New drivers coming up to the fold. And what has to be said here today, Johnny, is that there are about 15 different drivers who have a chance of winning a round this season.
It's going to be chaotic in the first few laps here for the race later on, Connery, but we're in qualifying right now, and talk about the challenges for this session right now, because a lot of these drivers have a lot of nerves to prove. You know, some of them may not be used to the amount of big broadcasts they're currently being pitched to around the world. It's very nerve-wracking, especially for the young guns.
Yeah, very, very nerve-wracking indeed. But remember, we've got young guns here that are very, very experienced. You've got the likes of Frederick Rasmussen, Sebastian Job, and a couple of others as well. So I don't think they'll have too much of an issue with the big stage. But again, as you mentioned, there's some names that haven't been on these broadcasts that could have some names to be factored in right there. But qualifying as it stands right now, Michael Dinkel, a 1:10.324, only a couple of hundredths of a second faster than Martin van Loozenhout. Of course, Loozenhout, very, very competent in Formula Rounds, moving up to the Formula 1 car. Alex Simpson gets himself onto provisional front row, at least for this session.
So we're currently on board with Frederick Rasmussen, and he is heading towards turn number 4, the Interlagos section. Under braking, it's very important to use the curbs here at Interlagos. So Frederick Rasmussen, Jake, he is a driver who is tipped by many to win this championship, but look at the top of the timing sheet. Sebastian Job, his teammate, and a new team for Sebastian Job in Core Sim Racing. A more than experienced Michael Dinkel. His career best result in the World Championship is a 6th place finish, as well as Alex Simpson, Martin van Loozenhout. These are all former World Championship drivers at the top of the sheets, and that's what Frederick Rasmussen's contending with.
He is, but he is the Blancpain champion, the man who got 6 out of 6 pole positions that season, and arguably the man that sim racing knows is the next big darling moving forward. He has the same sort of hype around him as Job did 2 years ago. Drive to the line on his final lap, must set a time, and the answer is a 1:10 flat, and you bet it, Freddie does not go anywhere else but pole position, Johnny.
Yep, that's clutch, and all Core Sim Racing front row at the moment. So Dinkel and Alex Simpson behind. It's Apex Racing UK 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Josh Rogers in 6th. We know how strong Josh Rogers is. Michael Partington as well with a 1:10.4. Now, is Josh Rogers Connery on the end of this lap? Let's have a look here as he's about to cross the line.
Let's see what lap time, if any, he sets as the number 92, heads his way across the line. It's going to be a 1:10.6, and that's not going to be an improvement for Josh OK Rogers. And I think Michael Partington may also be on lap here. He's coming through turn number 5 up towards Ferradura now, the number 7 driver. He's been doing very, very well to try and get in the iRacing Grand Prix series that we used to cover on Sunday afternoons, looking to get himself into the big leagues.
Yep, Partington. He's coming around the middle section of the racetrack, just trying to spot the braking zone. Such a tricky section this is at Interlagos. As he now hugs the inside of turn 12. Now on towards Yunsao. This is where you have to open up the corner. This is where the roll bar does all the work here, and he aborts the lap. So Michael Partington's qualifying session is done and dusted for round number 1. And you can see down the order as well. I just saw a name pop up the sheets. I'm not sure if you caught that, Jake. It was Riley Preston, right? Yep. Riley Preston into 6th position. Brilliant time.
Brilliant time from the driver who's finished his lease with Orion and now fully with the Evolution Racing team, who is making some very good progress up through the field. But Looking further down, 3 drivers yet to set a time as far. Fernando Guerrero, a driver you've been looking at. And here's a driver I'm looking at, the number 9 of Dan Brewer. He's one of those drivers who is looking to try and make sure that everything is going to be going well for him. And it's a big move for Dan Brewer to go to Evolution Racing Team, moving away from Origin. And Dan Brewer, I've heard from team boss Brenton O'Brien, he's been struggling this week.
Yep, Dan Brewer, who I've had many of the race against. He clicks on DRS. He's a tough cookie to break, but does he break himself in qualifying? 14th. Decent result, respectable for Daniel Brewer, but he was pipped by, it looks like, Jorge Montañez, who jumps his way into the top 9, improves to a 1:10.643. Fernando Guerrero, he's coming towards the end of his lap here, and he's still got time. He's currently the only driver not to set a lap time, Fernando Guerrero, and he's racing the World Championship too. I think this is an out lap, Connery, so Fernando is going to set up a hot lap here, and as I said, he's got experience in the World Championship, and here he is now. He's left Positive Sim Racing. He's with Champs iRacing at the moment. New team, new face, and hopefully increased speed.
Yeah, but let's see what he can do on this qualifying lap. He messed up his banker lap, so this is the lap that's going to count for his grid spot when it gets to the race in about 20 minutes. Time's going to be. So heading his way down into the Desierto del Lago here on his quick lap. Seems to be relatively clean corners so far, but clean corners don't necessarily mean you get a very fast lap time. And, well, he's just heading through towards the very tight and twisty middle sector now. We could see some side-by-side action coming down through here. Rides the curb all the way there, coming through turn number 8, in towards Pinarino now, turn number 9, as he heads up on the brakes for the next right-hander. And this seems very, very clean. As I have said for Guerrero right now, looks like a good lap time on the cards.
Yep, so he comes now to the final couple of corners. Up the inside. He's been using a lot of the curbs here to end the lap, so let's see if this will be a rapid lap time to P34, Jeff Giassi, a 1:12.4, pole position for Frederick Rasmussen, a 1:10.0. What does Fernando Guerrero do as he crosses the line? It is a 1:11.439, only good enough for P30 in this split at the moment, Jake.
P30, well, that is very, very interesting, especially when it's the top 10 that make the qualifying overall. Only one driver out on circuit right now. That's the 9 of Dan Brewer, so he'll be the only other driver who will be going through. So Dan Brewer, you'd expect him to be on an out lap here on lap 2, so this will be his final flying lap, and with just 3 minutes to go, the only driver out on circuit. He's got to improve from P15 right now. A 1/10 of a second gets into P13. 9/10 of a second off of pole position.
So here he is now, Daniel Brewer. He's got time to improve. Underbraking for the Desierto del Lago, maximizing the track width on the entry. Now look, hug the inside on the exit to minimize the distance you cover here on the racetrack through this beautiful section of turns 7 and 8. Using the curb there on the outside, he butchers the lap though, doesn't he, Connery? And it's just, it's these curbs that will catch you out at Interlagos.
Yeah, definitely, and immediately tows that car back to the pits. No point in continuing on the lap. When you get an off track like that, that means your lap is just completely invalid. No point in continuing on that lap. And as I think everyone in this session has qualifying time. Of course, we have to remember split number 2 of qualifying is still a factor. So these positions can change, but these are the positions at the moment. Take us through it, Johnny.
Yep, definitely. So very important to note that these may not be the final top 35 positions at the moment, but it's Frederick Rasmussen on pole position for round number 1. We think, though, who knows if anyone in that second split's pipped that 1:10.068. He's joined alongside his core sim racing teammate with Sebastian Job there. It's an all Apex Racing UK second row with Michael Dinkel and Alex Simpson, followed by Martin Van Leeuwenhoek in 5th with a 1:10.378. The rest of the top 10, Riley Preston in 6th. Rogers and Partington share that 4th row. Good to see Diogo Oliveira speeding away there in the 9th position, followed by Jorge Montañez, who rounds out the top 10. It was Massimiliano Ficaro in 11th, Aurelian Talamon behind in the 6th row. Alex Sadler, the young man who's moved to Radicals earlier on, and he is currently in 13th in this qualifying session. Nicholas Rasmussen, another Rasmussen out there today, he's in 14th. Daniel Brewer in 15th, and you'll see the rest of the grid on your screen. Couple notable names out there: Giuseppe Ragusa, Josh Thompson, Bobby Zelensky all the way down there in P23. Good old Bobby Zelensky trying the McLaren out. Eric Kern down in P28. We've seen Kern quite a while in this car. Fernando Guerrero down there in 30th. We saw at the end of the session setting that lap time. And Istvan Below, who we will credit at the end of this broadcast for his brilliant track camera work, is in P33. So that's the qualifying results all but over for the first round of the iRacing Road Pro Series for 2017 to 18. Don't leave us, because you know why? We're going to show the pole lap after the break. We're also going to bring our pre-race coverage and analysis from the commentary team here at RaceSpot TV. Join us soon in a few minutes. Welcome to post-qualifying coverage, as qualifying has been wrapped up for round number 1 of the iRacing Road Pro Series. What a session it was. It was Fredrik Rasmussen on pole position alongside his core sim racing teammate of Sebastian Job. And you know what, Jake? Fredrik Rasmussen, should we be surprised by this? We know he's quick. I'm not that surprised myself.
Well, I had a look at Fredrik Rasmussen, the pace that he showed at Spa-Francorchamps in the iRacing Grand Prix Series about 4 months ago or so. And he beat Jamie Fluke by 0.3 of a second there, and that didn't surprise me at all. Fredrik Rasmussen, whatever vehicle he gets into, is normally up there and he's already pushing. He's trying to be that driver, to be the 4th road guy, or the 4th or 5th road guy, shall I say, to get inside that 9,000 iRacing rating system, which puts him on the level of Maximilian Benecke, Martin Kroenke, the man who went 12 for 12 in the World Championship this year, and Gregor Hutu as well. There is no surprise about the pace that he shows, but it's all about how he keeps it on the island at that Spa race. He very much found the barriers.
Now, that's a good point there, Connery, because Martin Kroenke has tied the record win streak at 13 wins at the moment. He went 12 for 12 in 2017, one extra win at the end of 2016. Now, can Fredrik Rasmussen be one of those drivers, and possibly Sebastian Job, Michael Dinkel, the rest of the drivers behind? Are these people we need to look for that could challenge Kroenke for a title?
They could potentially, but all the signs I've been seeing so far, especially with last season, is that Kroenke is, for all intents and purposes, untouchable at the moment. But it's going to take a very special driver like Fredrik Rasmussen or Sebastian Job to try and get up there and challenge Coander's reign at the front. And I'm excited for this series because this is going to be a ding-dong battle between Freddie and Sebastian Job, and the 2 youngest and 2 quickest drivers that we have on the service doing battle. That's going to be amazing.
Yep, certainly will. So we're going to ride on board with Fredrik Rasmussen after his brilliant pole position lap at Interlagos, a 1 minute 10.068. Let's enjoy the ride. talk about utter brilliance there, Jake. What a lap from Fredrik Rasmussen, just super smooth. The lap looked scruffy initially going into the center S, and I'm like, oh, is this pole position? But then one of the most beautiful laps you'll ever see from turn 4 onwards, just absolutely on it. And that's just, that's why he's a champion there in the Blancpain Endurance Series.
Exactly, and his Blancpain GT Series crowns it just goes to show you just how amazing he can be over the course of one lap. You don't get 6 pole positions out of 6 in that series, especially with balance of performance changes as much as he did in the McLaren GT3 machine that he had to get himself into that level. What I do think, though, about Fredrik Rasmussen is that his race pace now, he is going to be challenged by all comers. And the big interesting thing about this grid here, especially with the top 6 here, is 3 lockout rows. It's all drivers from Core on the front row, all Apex second, and all Evolution Racing team on the third. And it's that third one that interests me, because this is the first time the Evolution Racing team have decided to make that jump.
Yep, so Martin Van Loosenor, Riley Preston on the third row, Michael Dinkel, Alex Simpson on the second row is what Jake's talking about. And this is where the team battle comes in, Connery, because we know iRacing doesn't really reward teams for points or prizes or anything, but it is still very important in sim racing to have your teammates around you on the racetrack, to fight together, to battle together, make sure strategy's on par later on today, because in this one-stop race, you don't want to be stuck in traffic for the rest of the race after that first pit stop.
Yeah, another thing you have to consider as well is, like, you have a group of teammates at the front there like ERT and Core Sim Racing. If you have any incident, it could be a possibility that you collect members of your own team in that as well. So you just have to be very, very careful. As much as I do want to see Sebastian and Freddie fight it out at the front, I think they'll be very, very conservative, at least in the first couple of laps here, just to get both of the cars to the end, because that's what's important now. Because you don't get anything from winning this series. You get a ticket into the World Championship Series by finishing top 10 in the points. There's nothing for first place, nothing for second place, nothing for third place that's more than a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. And so, Jake, one more thing about this first few rows is that how do you attack turn number 1 here? Because, I mean, if you look at Fredrik Rasmussen's pole lap, super smooth, calm. Does he do that into turn number 1 here? Because this is where it gets pretty hectic, because it's an uphill start. Those drivers from about, I'd say, probably about 7th place onwards, so Josh Rogers onwards, that's when they finally get that flat start. So they'll get off the line a little bit better than those on the front row, but obviously they lack that track position, which is also critical.
I think the interesting nature about turn number 1 is the fact that it's a bottleneck. It's a 3-into-2 corner when you're going side by side at turn number 1, and it always seems to cause, at any given level, a chance for an incident to happen. So when you really get right down to it and how everyone is looking to try and push and play on this event, I think everyone's going to be looking to try and hold as much speed as possible. And I think they're also trying to look at, maybe, can I steal that extra position or not? Now, the interesting thing comes back to the first round of the iRacing World Championship this year, where 3 redline drivers all hit each other. I think that you've got to be really careful going into this first corner, because you can't win a race on the opening lap, but you certainly can lose it.
Yeah, exactly. And Connery, you also mentioned that the top 23 here in qualifying, from Fredrik Rasmussen to Bobby Zelensky there in 23rd, all separated by 1 second, or less than a second. I mean, that's pretty impressive, and it goes to show that this race here, we could be constantly jinking left and right, looking all over the place, clicking everywhere, trying to find battles. It's going to be as hectic for us in the production booth.
Yeah, but when you consider 23 drivers within a second of the leader, you just got to consider what has happened in the second qualifying split. There could be drivers that have got very similar lap times to that as well. So this is going to be an absolutely stacked field in terms of talent, in terms of drivers trying to get back their World Championship licenses, like Diego Oliveira and a couple of others, and those young guns that want to try and get their license for the first time.
And Jake, this calendar for the season, I'm going to get Connery to talk about this too, but we started Interlagos, we end at the Nürburgring on the 27th of January. There's a couple of 2 weeks break in there over the Christmas holiday break. There's a 1 week break for the new build. But more importantly, these first 5 rounds up to that first break after round 5, it's Interlagos today, Montreal next, Silverstone, Suzuka, Circuit of the Americas. You talk about technical circuits providing a different challenge. Interlagos, we know today, its own challenge, long radius corners, medium speed. Montreal is all about late braking. Silverstone's high speed, no braking. Suzuka, technical, tight, twisty. And Circuit of the Americas is everything. You know, you've got everything to challenge these drivers, and they're going to be working their backsides off. I was about to say another word there. Backsides off until that week 5 break.
Exactly, and it's always going to be a massive challenge heading towards that week 5 break, and arguably these first 5 weeks are the most important because you don't get that rest time. You don't get that ability to stop, take a moment, step back. And more importantly, if you've got momentum coming out of a race, you know there's a 1 week turnover. You know that you can very easily get engaged for that next event. And the moment breaks start coming in, I'll use Blancpain again as another example. There are only the last 2 rounds of Blancpain were split between 4 months, whereas the first 4 rounds were split between 2 months. Teams lose momentum, teams gain momentum. They need to be there at every single race, every single week to gain the momentum going forward. And I think it's teams that can adapt well on those opening 5 rounds and keep the momentum going for the breaks. I think those are the ones that get their drivers up into that top 10 to get themselves into the final 40.
Yeah, very important as well for next season. And Connery, the rest of the calendar too. Monza, Spa, Imola, Indy, and the Nürburgring. This 10-round calendar, I think someone's just gone, you know what? Let's just pick the 10 circuits that would make like an all-star team in the NBA or something, and let's just put them into one Pro Series calendar. That's what they've done. It's such a great calendar coming up, and definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is an absolutely fantastic calendar. All of the iconic racetracks that iRacing has scanned, and it's absolutely brilliant to see. And a couple of things to note: we do have a new build that comes in the middle of the season, so there could be a couple of changes to the cars, a couple of changes to the track physics that could, fall in favor of a couple of drivers more than others, shall we say? You've also got that 2-week break after Monza as well, where you can just regain your composure if you're having a bad season and then come back strong for the final 4 rounds. But overall, I'm very excited for what the season could bring.
And so last comments before we leave the event later, for the race actually. But Jake, is Rasmussen looking good for the win, or is Sebastian Job more than improved? Because remember, Sebastian Job's best result in the World Championship is a 2nd place finish, and so he's a driver who's been close to a win. Can he steal it from Frederick later on? Maybe even Michael Dinkel or Alex Simpson?
I'd be very careful about Sebastian Job because he was in exactly this same position 12 months ago, qualifying for the Road to Pro with Apex Racing UK, and he was up in those front rows fighting with Bono House and Frake Showthorst and all those sorts of drivers, and he failed to finish inside the top 20 and failed to get himself into that World Championship scene. He's changed teams. I'd like to think that his attitude has matured a little bit and he gets himself forward. Yes, I think he can definitely challenge Frederick Rasmussen. I don't think this is as clear-cut as people make it out to be. And let's go to World's Fastest Gamer, Showthorst versus De Corps. De Corps took it at turn 1, but Frake Showthorst took it back at turn number 4. It is not as simple as whoever gets to turn 1 wins today.
Yeah, definitely. And Connery, we talk about strategy, 1 stop. Any other challenges these drivers need to face later on?
Yeah, if the track temperature behaves itself, it is definitely just going to be a 1 stop.
Yeah,
but we've heard a couple of murmurings that there might be a 2 stop on the cards if the track temperature is hot enough, because these tires, as we've heard, fall off a cliff if the track is hot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 32-degree track temp for qualifying, 30-degree ambient, mostly cloudy skies, all simulated on iRacing with the McLaren MP430. You can jump in and get involved yourself. Visit iRacing.com, and for anything RaceSpot TV, visit RaceSpot.tv. We will take a break, and finally, the race. It's coming up next. We're all excited, and it's back for another season. The iRacing Road Pro Series. Don't leave us. Coverage coming up next, as we said.
It was more than impressive, I have to say. I mean, the track is identical to the real track. I was blown away how realistic it is. Every little bump, every little spray paint, everything is exactly like you were there at the track. It was a great experience. This is a warm-up lap now. Tires to get warmed up. The engine. Breathe a little bit here when you go through that little bump there. And then it's flat pretty much all the way through here, just about. Hard braking. This is the slowest part of the track. And I've done, you know, I did many races in Formula 3, Formula 2, and then I did the very last race they did there in Group C in 1983 in the 956 Porsche. That's when Beloff got the lap record at the 6:11. I think I was second on the grid with the 6:14 or something, which was, I mean, those cars were awesome around there, of course, like any car is, you know, that speed. And this is the corner of all corners here, the Schwedenkreuz. Flat all the way into it. Then trail brake all the way into the apex here. And then hard at it again to get good speed down the hill here. Mega fast down this hill here. Just jump from one apex to the next. Gotta be super precise here. I mean, it's almost exactly like the real thing. So, I mean, it is certainly realistic enough to get past the very, you know, a lot of the initial hurdles you have when you try to learn to drive a race car, you know. So, I mean, I think it's an excellent tool to learn how to race, for sure, or learn to drive a car on a racetrack.
It's race time for the iRacing Road Pro Series as round number 1 is about to take place from Interlagos, the 4.3 kilometer, 2.7 mile anti-clockwise layout, 15 turns, 10 of those to the left, the other 5 to the right, and 71 laps of racing action coming up. 21 seconds the pit stop lost time with a 45 meters of elevation change, around 325 kilometers an hour, the maximum top speeds, and a beautiful racing day here, Jake, with lots of new faces. It looks good out there for possibly a 2-stop strategy race.
Yeah, it certainly does. 2 stops maybe on the card today. Few eyes to keep on lower down the field. Maybe Boris Spolstra may try and make his way through. A Formula Renault driver who did so well, won the championship there in spring. And also Bobby Zelensky, one of the 3 drivers to get oval 9K iRacing. He is definitely a driver to look out for.
And Connery, turn number 1 and turn number 4, our best overtaking spots. DRS to help. We're about to go.
Yeah, we are, and this is going to be very interesting coming down towards turn number 1 on the start. Center S is always very tricky in the amount of traffic that we'll have at the start of this race. Also important to get a good run out turn number 12 at the end of the lap to get that DRS pass down into 1.
Exactly right. 71 laps of racing action coming up. Red lights on, and we go green at Interlagos. Dinkel got a good jump, but Rasmussen flies from pole position. It looks like Michael Dinkel's got ahead of Sebastian Job there, who's fighting with Alex Simpson into the center S as the rest of the cars file through behind. Riley Preston under battle there with leaves like Josh Rogers around the outside as they all head towards turn number 4. Battle for the lead now as Michael Dinkel searches for the inside line. He's going to go for the outside, and Fredrik Rasmussen leads into turn 4, Jake.
Yes, he does, and a move just behind that as well. Wide move that makes it 3 wide, as I believe that was Van Loosenord trying to get through. Riley Preston gets past his teammate, and Alex Simpson shuffled back down the order in the middle of the pack, but training 3 at the front, as it is very firmly going to be a core sim racing sandwich into the Pinarino for the very first time. Rasmussen trying to break away. We also had an incident at turn number 1 involving Zoran Jonjic and also the driver of Orient Talmon.
Yep, and Moritz Lochner now down in the middle of the pack, side by side with, it looks like Ricardo Orozco there around the outside. Oh, excuse me, that's Giuseppe Ragusa, who slots his way in front into P15. Battles throughout the order, Connery, but a very dramatic start there for a few drivers who are shuffling for position.
Yeah, position gained by many drivers down the field. 4 positions for Moritz Lochner, 4 positions for Giuseppe Ragusa, 4 positions for Ricardo Orozco, as those drivers are having a very, very good start right now, as actually Ricardo Orozco can get challenged down into turn number 1 by Giuseppe Ragusa, heading himself down towards the inside line for the first apex. Does stick his car there, but will have to surrender the position just for the second apex, and does not get the run out of the corner. He makes contact with Moritz Lochner there, somehow keeps that one on the track. What?
Yep, incredible save there. So that was Moritz Lochner in the Core Motorsports car. So 2 separate teams, Core Sim Racing and Core Motorsports are 2 different teams. You'll identify Core Motorsports with the purple and yellow livery. Orange for Core Sim Racing. Up ahead though, battles with Alex Sadler being very optimistic into turn number 6, Ferradura, as he tries to find a way past Nicholas Rasmussen. Earlier on, we had Jorge Montañez making his way past Diogo Oliveira. Those 2, Jake, staying slow and steady at the last bottom end of the top 10.
Yes, they are, and that's the sort of positions they want to be scoring here. Bottom end of the top 10, they want to be scoring consistent points, but it's worth reminding people, even though you're not inside this top split, there may still be chances if you win the second split, you can get enough points to get top 10 related points that keep yourself going forward. I've kept my eye on Sebastian Job. He's been harassing Dinkel for the past lap or so. Looks to the inside at turn number 1, thinks about it, door left open, side by side to 2 of the center S. Curva de Sol around the outside of 2, down to the inside of 3. Sebastian Job, take your hat off to him.
Brilliant stuff from Job, and look at Riley Preston behind, who started in 6th, leading the search for a podium position today and to reclaim his license for the 2018 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Rasmussen, though, has a lead of 1.3 seconds ahead of Sebastian Job, his teammate in 2nd. Michael Dinkel Preston behind, as we said. Martin Van Loosenord in 5th, the other Evolution Racing team car, followed by Alex Simpson, who's had a poor start. He drops down to the 6th position. Josh Rogers in 7th. The rest of the top 10, Michael Partington, Jorge Montañez, Diogo Oliveira there in the 10th position. A couple of good starts down the order too. Moritz Lochner from 20th to 15th. And no real DNFs at the moment. Everybody trundling away there, Connery, in a good way.
Yep, very clean first lap, relatively speaking, as they head their way, the front of the field head their way to complete lap 3. And guess what? Fredrik Rasmussen already broken the DRS to P number 2, Sebastian Job. And now Job has to focus on trying to get away from the cars behind him, the likes of Dinkel, Preston, and Lusenord right on his tail, all within that DRS zone as they head through the curve as well.
Yep, and here's Josh Rogers, who's got Alex Simpson within his within arm's length here. No, look at Alex Simpson, robust on the brakes, but he runs very deep into turn number 4. Rogers around the outside. Go for it, son. Almost there, Jake. He's going to be alongside Simpson going into Ferradura, and brilliant stuff there.
Up and under.
Does Simpson have the comeback? Here we go. Nice. Up ahead. Oh, spin up ahead as well. Another Apex car off. That looks like it was Dinkel. Oh, goodness me. Battles throughout the order here.
Oh, unbelievable. And 2 incidents then in the space of a moment, because Rogers had to bail out of the corner, and behind him down to the inside now has a look is the driver of what is going to be Jorge Montañez, brand new to Positive Sim Racing, side by side with Partington of ERT, almost touched through that next left-hander into the corner of Jun Sao. His left-hander behind Partington, though, is the helper Diogo Oliveira, who's also moved from Positive Sim Racing over towards ERT. Unbelievable scenes there. Michael Dinkel has damage to the front wing, but right now it's Sebastian Job second, Riley Preston third.
Yeah, but it looked like Preston got unsettled on the curb and just couldn't get the car stopped in time. And Dinkel just wasn't expecting him there on the inside too, so...
Montañez had to bail. He had to bail coming down to the center S's.
Yeah, what's happened to Jorge Montañez? I saw him go down the timing screen. He's, I think, completely butchered his braking point. He's had to take to the runoff there, Connery. Definitely not what Jorge Montañez needs at the moment. He drops outside the top 10 into 16.
Yeah, he was looking to go side by side with Michael Partington, but he just ran onto the grass with 2 of the right side tires. That just pulled him onto the outside of the track there, and has to take the grassy routes to try and get back on the track. We'll probably have a slowdown penalty because of that one now. And how far down the field has he fallen? He's currently behind Boris Spolzer. It's currently P number 16, I believe. So actually, Jorge Montañez in P number 16 right now. So that is how far he's fallen. He's 6 positions down on his qualifying.
Yeah, so not good for Jorge Montañez, but that improves or promotes, Massimiliano Ficarra in the Movano Racing Team car into the top 10. He's followed by Nicholas Rasmussen and Alex Sadler, but it is still Rasmussen who has that clear advantage. He's broken the DRS zone from Sebastian Job, ahead by over a second. Riley Preston the same, but Riley Preston here, Jake, he's got Martin van Loosenhoed, his teammate, right behind. This is probably the moment where they need to start working together, right? They don't want to let these core duo in front break away.
No, they certainly don't. 1.6 seconds over the line between Preston and Job. So Riley Preston has some work to do to get himself back into play. And Martin van Loosenhoed knows the game better than quite a few others. Of course, he tried to set up his own sim racing academy a few months ago. Now, what is interesting is the battle further down. Nicholas Rasmussen, no relation to Freddie, versus Alex Sadler in the 28 machine. Sadler looks to the inside. Not going to happen for him. Drivers with very low iRacing here, 27 and 28, the sort of drivers that will be there. And of course, with Michael Dinkel's front wing damage as well further up the field, he is going to be at the whim of other drivers. He's got teammate Simpson that he can let through, but Josh Rogers very, very close behind.
Yeah, Connery, Michael Dinkel's damage, it looks absolutely horrid for him at the moment on lap 6 of 71, because he's right now got his teammate of Alex Simpson behind. He's trying to get a move on. Dinkel's got no speed now, and he's under attack from Simpson and Rogers, 2 very hungry competitors.
Yeah, I don't think Alex Simpson will be an issue. Of course, Dinkel and Simpson part of that Apex Racing UK team, so Simpson will get by relatively okay, but well, will he defend from Josh Rogers with the amount of front wing damage that he has? It will definitely be suffering in the middle sector here, coming up towards Ferradura, where it's a very downforce dependent going. He'll lose all speed coming through there as a result of the front wing damage, and just look how much time he's lost to Martin van Loosenhoed already, at least a couple of seconds there.
And a 2-stop's very optimistic, I think, in this car. So, you know, if you are considering it, maybe this is the right time for Dinkel to pull in just to repair that front wing damage, because, you know, if you're 1-stopping, he has to wait all the way until that pit window opens, which is around lap 29 of the event. And right now, he's going to lose so much time lap after lap. He's already 2 seconds behind Martin van Loosenhoed. And Jake is just... For the Apex team now, the only thing stopping them is that they can't really engineer this overtake very well, because Joshua Rogers is right behind.
Well, the issue that Apex have consistently had as a motive is they're brilliant on starts, but they fall away during the race. Worth noting, Sebastian Job now within 1 second of Frederick Rasmussen. We could see core battling happening, but there we go. There is the move. There's an up and under trying attempt then from Michael Dinkel. That's not going to work. That's going to allow now Josh Rogers to have a chance. DRS will be available for Rogers, but not for Michael Dinkel, and that's going to be very, very crucial down this next straight. But Dinkel will come back to the Desquita de Lago and will hope to try and negate the effect of Josh Rogers, who may look to try and go up and under again, try and get the inside for Ferradura yet again. But they're going to be wise to this, and look at it. He's trying to angle his way through, but Dinkel's going to say, no, thank you, sir.
Oh, but he's got the cutback possibly. No, Dinkel, smart. And he protects the line there. So good stuff from Michael Dinkel. And I'll tell you what, though, that was very close to losing a position. Rogers, whoa, what a save there from Josh Rogers. He almost lost it there, Connery, at the exit of turn 9, and he just kept it together. The inexperience, he's very quick, but this McLaren is a tough car to drive.
Yeah, fantastic reactions on car control to keep that car from pointing in the wrong directions. We did catch that one live. That was absolutely brilliant for Josh K. Rogers, but what is not so brilliant is, as a result of that, he's lost time to the two Apex Racing UK cars ahead of him. Luckily, he's still within the DRS zone. You see that rear wing flap wide open as they head down in towards turn number 1. 2 DRS zones on this racetrack from the final corner all the way to turn number 1 and out of the Curva del Sol here on the run down in towards the Desquita de Lago.
And let's just think about this for a second. If you go have a look at the lead, half a second here at the moment, Sebastian Job has reeled in his teammate in Frederick Rasmussen. Now, we know that when you're in a stint in the McLaren here, Jake, you like to split it into 3/3. The start, the middle, the end. We're approaching that middle part of the stint if you're one-stopping. Is Frederick Rasmussen just made a mistake, or is he possibly starting to lose a bit of tyre life?
Well, his lap time's looking very consistent at the moment, and they're consistently dropping back. There was a mistake, though, from Joe coming out of the Bico de Pato. That's going to drop him back a couple of tenths, but he's going to just gain all of it up the hill here through the left-hander then of Jun Sao and up the hill towards the Arquibancadas. And the start of the lap yet again. Desquita does boxes, these left-handers, which do not much here to change it, but you've got to be careful when you're going through this section. I think Sebastian Jobe's mistake means that he's unable to close that gap down. He closes it down by 6 thousandths there, Johnny. Not enough to really make anything happen, but he's just keeping Frederick Rasmussen honest in this situation.
And he's going to chip away at it slowly, and he's got another 61 laps to do so as well, so definitely important. He's got DRS available, and that's also critical, Connery, because it just puts a bit of pressure on his teammate too. You don't want friendly fire. You just want to have a healthy competition between the two, because sim racing is very much a team sport.
Yes, it is. And when you look at the lap times, and you have to consider that both Rasmussen and Job right now running 3/10 of a second quicker than the likes of Riley Preston, Martin Van Loosen, and Alex Simpson. So they're not really under any pressure. As Job misses the apex coming through the Bico de Pato there, getting on the grass a little bit. Can't afford to make many mistakes like that because sometimes those mistakes can escalate into something much, much bigger in race ending.
Yeah, exactly. And race ending, these drivers are very close at the moment, so they all have to keep themselves clean. You don't want to lose any valuable points. If you want to follow the race using RaceSpot's live timing system, visit racespot.tv/timing. Keep the broadcast on too, obviously. You don't want to just watch data going across the screen, but you'll be able to just track how Sebastian Job's lap times are doing. Right now, we're 1 minute 13.342 if you check the live timing page. For Rasmussen, though, Jake, a 1 minute 13.486, and he's lost another 10th. I think Job with the DRS there, it's really starting to help. That's where there's no DRS or ERS train here to help Frederick Rasmussen defend.
No, there isn't, and Frederick Rasmussen's a little bit newer to the vehicle in comparison to Job, so Sebastian Job will have a lot more experience he can count on, even though that they are relatively similar in terms of ages. Sebastian Job probably has 2 more years on Frederick Rasmussen in this vehicle, but that doesn't count for much when it comes to this battle right now. It's going to be about how Sebastian Job makes this move. He doesn't want to cause tensions in between the team if he starts making contact with Rasmussen in certain stages. Very good run off the exit there of Jun Sao. Run up to the start of this one on lap 11 to start lap 12 of this 71 lap event. And I have a feeling Sebastian Job may start thinking about making this move here. He closes the gap 3/10 2/10, looking for 1/10, too far back right now, but there's another DRS zone coming.
Definitely, that was one of our best overtaking spots into turn 1, but he can back it up here as he'll flick on DRS as he approaches the markers. There we go, it's on for Sebastian Job. He's heading to turn 4, the Desquita del Lago, the second best overtaking point of the circuit, and just not close enough there as he pedals away, right foot on the throttle. They go up the hill to turn 6, so right now it's just about keeping that pressure on his teammate, and a lead change could be inevitable at this stage. Sebastian Job has got the upper hand. Back down the order, Josh Rogers also trying to make his way past Michael Dinkel, who has that just absolute terrible front wing damage. I'm surprised Michael is still keeping within a second of his teammate Alex Simpson in front, but Josh Rogers cannot find any way past. And good to see as well, Connery, a man named Diogo Oliveira there in P8. He's still within 10 seconds of the win.
Yep, Oliveira, of course, did compete in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, unfortunately, because he didn't finish inside the top 30 positions. As a result, he has
comes Joe.
And have to qualify for it. Actually, just Sebastian Job down towards the inside for the CNRSs. Will get that position complete. Maybe a little crossover for Rasmussen. Nope, he's going to have to stay behind, settle for P number 2 for the moment, but he will have DRS coming towards the Desquita del Lago.
Yep, let's have a look at Fredrik Rasmussen. He's going to claim the lead back here. Maybe up the inside, thinks better of it. So Sebastian Job snatches the lead on lap 13 of the event from teammate Fredrik Rasmussen. And pole sitter Fredrik Rasmussen, he finds his way in P2 for the first time this event. What a move there from Sebastian Job, Jake. It was inevitable.
It was plain sailing, and that's what it had to be between two teammates. This is not Hamilton and Rosberg, no sirree. This is very much two teammates who know each other very well, know they don't want to jeopardize their own chance of getting into this championship, and know that they have to do a lot of work to get through. Train now really developing, though, behind Nicholas Rasmussen for position number 11. Sadler, Lohner, Orozco, Osgaard, Montañez, all there and all hoping to try and gain a position here or there. And this is what I like of Nicholas Rasmussen in the Gap SRT machine. He's probably one of the toughest drivers in the world right now in sim racing to get past. There's a reason why he is just an iron wall.
Oh, he almost loses it at the exit of Yunsao. That's going to gift Alex Sadler P11 away as he heads away on this main straight. Rasmussen, don't forget, he will not have DRS to defend. That's going to be gifted to Alex Sadler once more. And he has to defend here from Moritz Lohner behind in the Core Motorsports car. Sadler gets twitchy under braking. He keeps it together though. Lohner and Rasmussen still alongside each other on the exit here of turn 3. Oh, goodness me. Lohner, what a terrific fight this is between the two. And look at a man named Ricardo Orozco right behind. Can he make his way past as Lohner finally gets his way in front? I think Orozco was just tapped there a little bit by Osgaard. Osgaard may have some front wing damage, but the two teammates there, Connery, just a slight tap.
Osgaard's front wing looks pretty fine, but as the three PSR cars try to chase down, well, the ex-iron wall, shall we say, of Nicholas Rasmussen, but we decided to make a mistake out of the Junshao corner at the end of the lap here. But he's only lucky that he only had let two cars by instead of the whole train by as they had their way through the middle sector now. Still no changes of position, still no door opening right now for Ricardo Orozco in Nicholas Rasmussen's armor onto the brakes into Junshao. Now still no opportunity, but this is going to be pretty much DRS train at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be tough to overtake, but I think that mistake from Rasmussen's really opened the door for some of these drivers. And Orozco make his way past now. It's called the commentary curse, isn't it, Jake? You said he's difficult to pass, and just as you said it, that's when everything went sour.
Yeah, it happens like that from time to time, but rest assured, Nicholas Rasmussen will hope to get himself back into position, still defending from Ricardo Orozco, who I have to say I expected to be a lot higher up through this field after the performances that he showed a few months ago, shall I say, in terms of what he has done. Looking for a way past Rasmussen, not going to happen into Ferradura, the double right, and this is where the DRS-ERS train comes into play, because when someone has an advantage over someone else, you start looking for a way to make your way through, and it won't happen. You don't get the same benefit because the driver in front of you has the same benefit as you do, so you're always searching for a way. But Rasmussen a little bit out of shape in a couple of sections here on this infield section, will have a better chance of staying within 1 second and using the draft to his advantage when they exit Yunsao.
Yeah, very important here. So Those PSR cars look beautiful, by the way. New livery for them, and just trying to make a name for themselves in sim racing as usual, as are many other teams out there today. But it looks like Rasmussen is definitely going to keep himself ahead. Now, this is where Alex Sadler in front, he can't really do anything about this Connery. He's just leading the train. He can't really break away. Drivers behind are going to struggle to make their way past. It's just, I think he's just going to keep doing what he's doing now until the pit stop and hope that he breaks away from the field.
Yeah, he's got to stay as the engine carriage in the choo-choo DRS train right now, as it is. But you have to consider when we come up to around about lap 20, lap 25, maybe we have to start thinking about the drivers that may want to commit themselves to the two-stop strategy. It definitely is more possible than it otherwise would have been because of the very hot track temperature right now. 39 degrees Celsius out there on track. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit warmer as well as the cars run over. It's actually battle for P number 3 that was. Riley Preston, Van Loosenhout. And Loosenhout's lost a lot of time here. What has happened? Loosenhout all on his own. All on his own at Yunsao.
Yeah, lost it all by himself at Yunsao there, and he just went off on the outside, went too much speed into the corner, and now this is completely allowed here, Johnny, the group of Simpson and co. to get right on the train.
Yeah, so Van Loosenhout needs to be confident here at the exit of turn number 3. Coming across the radar Buster into the Desquita del Lago, and I think he maintains P4 quite comfortably in the end. So that's fine for Martin Van Loosenhout, but that's a corner there at Yunsao where it's so easy to brake late and so easy to run wide on the grass. So it's just about muscle memory, practice, confidence in the setup too. There's so many factors that go into it. The last thing you want to be doing, Jake, at this point is overthinking as a driver. So now when Martin Van Loosenhout comes up to that corner again, he just needs to have a short-term memory and forget about the mistake.
And he got through on Riley Preston as well a couple of laps ago, so he will be fuming at the fact he's made a mistake. And in fact, he is fighting against his ex-teammates in Simpson and Dinkel, one of the drivers to have left at the start of this year. So the driver of Martin Van Loosenhout up the straight again, does have the help from Riley Preston, but not much at all. So now look at Alex Simpson close that gap. Team boss of Apex Racing UK, there were talks of him retiring. He said, no, I'm going to give it one last crack of the whip in towards turn number 1. Nope, not going to happen yet again.
Yep, so this is another train starting to form up, unfortunately. Josh Rogers, though, he's very close to Michael Dinkel at the back of this train. But of course, Dinkel has DRS to defend here across this second straight. And they all continue away. It's lap 18 of the event. It's Sebastian Job who leads by 9/10 of a second ahead of Riley Preston. Ahead of Frederick Rasmussen, excuse me. Riley Preston's in third, 6 seconds behind. He's defending from Martin Van Loosenhout, Alex Simpson, Michael Dinkel, Josh Rogers behind. They're all getting feisty in this train at the moment. You saw Josh Rogers there just having a slight bit of moment. Michael Partington, Diogo Oliveira, Massimiliano Ficara rounding out the top 10. And we wait 5.5 seconds for Alex Sadler, and that second train we're following later on. So these drivers now, Connery, the tyres are starting to wear out, lap times are getting slower, and this is where you may need to start thinking about a pit stop, as Josh Rogers also has a moment at the exit of Yunsao. So yeah, tyres starting to come off and starting to really challenge some of these young guns.
Yeah, they really are, and we mentioned it beforehand, the hot track temperature is definitely punishing these tyres. Actually, there goes an Apex Racing UK car going wide there in San Reses. Alex Simpson also messes up the second part of San Reses, a little bit of contact as well.
Rogers is around. Yep, so Josh Rogers made a mistake at the exit of turn 3, and that's where the tyres are starting to go off. Once you start to make that slight mistake, the tyres start to get a bit hair-raising for you. You don't know what's going to happen next, and it's caught Josh Rogers unaware as we look at the replay, Jake.
Yeah, and Josh Rogers just getting too greedy into turn number 2. The torque oversteer, just bringing that vehicle around. No chance of saving it after the mistakes he'd been making prior. And well, Alex Simpson just running a little, or Michael Dinkel even running, yes, Alex Simpson, sorry, running a little bit too deep in towards turn number 1. And just not being able to get the power down at turn number 2, pinching himself to the curb and not using all of the Apex as well. Very surprising for an Apex driver.
Yep, and Nicholas Rasmussen defending from Tommy Osgaard. Rasmussen was trying to battle away with Ricardo Orozco. Look at Tommy Osgaard around the outside. What a move from Tommy, and he makes his way up into the 14th position. That is catching your opponents unaware. Rasmussen for so many corners was trying to make his way past Ricardo Orozco. And look at the teamwork there. The two PSR cars, Connery. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, brilliant move from Tommy Ostergaard, the Norwegian driver, making his way around the outside there, and also more problems for Rasmussen right now. Jorge Montana is looking his way down the inside, so he's an absolute pack of PSR cars at the moment, and there's pretty much no way out for him at the moment. Montana is going to get the DRS here coming down towards Interlagos, but Rasmussen also has the DRS to defend with as well, as Montana looks for the inside line, still not going to get it, drags the brakes a little bit, but still no opportunity for him. There's Bobby Zelensky here as well that could have a say in this. He's up 5 positions on his qualifying time, running comfortably mid-pack.
Yeah, so Bobby Zelensky in P22, he's joined the train. It's taken him quite a bit of time. We've just had our first retirement of the event. It was Matt Busse in P29 for the Radicals Online team, so not good for his start to his 2017 to 18 iRacing Road Pro Series campaign. And he is, well, I mean, good consistency though so far, Jake, from the field, but it's just unfortunate to finally see a driver retire.
Yeah, Matt Busse, one of those oval drivers that everyone respects coming in, and having that retirement, he was running towards the back, so points were going to be minimum if things were going the way, and Sebastian Joe breaking DRS, that's always going to be very useful. Now Nicholas Rasmussen, on the other hand, going defensive against Jorge Montañez, going the long way round at 1, locks up a little bit, tries to up and under through 2 to get the run through 3, but just taking so much more apex speed. Nicholas Rasmussen, a chance to defend maybe towards Desquita de Lago. Turns 4 and 5. Zelensky waiting in the wings. Is it going to be a dive down to the inside? Thought about by Montañez, and puts himself out of position. Here comes Zelensky.
Yeah, he's going to watch out for Bobby Zelensky, but I think he might have him covered. Poor exit though from Rasmussen. Here's Montañez up the inside. Whoa, that was close between the two. I swear I thought debris came up into the air. It may have been just some rubber from Nicholas Rasmussen's car, but that was close there. Just a very poor exit, wasn't it, Connery? Out of turn number 4 and 5. So Nicholas Rasmussen, just, I'm lost for words on that.
Yeah, he's not having a very great day at all, is Nicholas Rasmussen. The other Rasmussen, well, Fredrik Rasmussen, he's doing very, very well. But his doppelganger here, not too much, as he is in E number 15 right now, and risks losing more points to the likes of Jorge Montañez, as Montañez has another opportunity, has DRS. Rasmussen does not have DRS. Down onto the brakes, coming down into the center S's. Montañez on the inside line, and Rasmussen trying to hang it around the outside. In fact, does hang it around the outside, gets the second apex, but this still isn't over, Donny.
Here they come once again. Round number 2. Here's Jorge Montañez. He has DRS though this time around. Rasmussen doesn't. Here they go alongside each other into turn 4. Rasmussen robust defending, and Montañez has to take off the racetrack, and now he's going to be under attack from Bobby Zelensky there right behind. So Bobby Zelensky just not clutch enough to make that move into turn 6 Ferradura. So Bobby Zelensky will not improve though. He did start back down in P22, so far he's having a good race, but he's going to chip away at it slowly. Now a couple of points to note. Sebastian Job has broken the DRS from Fredrik Rasmussen. He is not in DRS range. Another battle taking place as well. It's Alex Sadler who's been forced off the racetrack. Alex Sadler's been, I'm not sure who that was with.
Lohner.
But Alex Sadler, their big battle there with Moritz Lohner.
And it wasn't contact. Oh, it was 2 into 1 on the exit. And I have to say there, I'm in the corner of Moritz Lohner on that one there, Johnny. It was a case of Sadler trying to hold the inside line as much as possible, but he moved a little bit in towards Moritz Lohner, took the contact, brought himself back into play again, and as such, he's now under immense pressure from Nicholas Rasmussen. How quickly it goes from defense to offense.
Yep, you're right. So that's a tough one to judge there, but Lohner now under attack there. Tommy Oscar behind Alex Sadler, trying to make his way back up the order. Nicholas Rasmussen slots his way through. Montañez again off the racetrack for another lap around, and it's Mr. Bobby Zelensky who makes his way through to P16. So you keep pounding the rock, Connery, and you finally make your way through.
Yeah, you do, and this has just mixed up this mid-pack a little bit as a result of that contact between Sadler and Lona. And Lona's currently in a PSR sandwich right now. Ricardo Roscoe ahead of him. Oscar looking for a way down the inside at the big Tapado, still not going to find the opportunity that he needs right now. Maybe coming into Yun Zhao, maybe coming down into turn number 1 with the help of the DRS and ERS that he has, but not a good exit for the Norwegian. He's just going to have to settle behind for now, because I think Lona will get the DRS off of Ricardo Orozco, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if that DRS flap opens, and it does. So Lona's safe for now. Oscar may have a lunge here, but I think it's a little bit too far back.
Yep, here's Alex Simpson. Goes for the inside. No spot there to make his way up into P4. So Van Loosenor defending there very well. He has to look out for Michael Dinkel with that front wing damage. He's very quick here on lap 24 of the event. And we're also approaching that one-stop window on lap 29 of the event, Jay.
Yeah, we do. We've lost Boris Spolstra with an incident. Don't know where, don't know why. Connery will have more on that in a little bit. But pit stop window, yes, definitely wide open. Definitely about trying to make things happen. And if you're stuck in a train, now's the time you do it. Drivers at the front will go as long as they possibly can before they just cover everybody else when it comes towards the stop. Van Loosenord still, though, under pressure from the driver of Alex Simpson, and Michael Dinkel just sitting there, catbird seat, knowing he's got the damage, just using the draft to keep himself going forward in this event. And, well, Alex Simpson maybe just a little bit too far back this time, and I'm surprised to see Dinkel not in yet at this stage, lap 25 of 71.
Yeah, and Connery, we saw what happened there to Boris Spolstra. It looked like maybe he exceeded the incident limit because yeah, just went straight off the racetrack at turn number 1, and he's out of the event now.
Yeah, he would have gotten 4 points from hitting the car ahead of him as Dan Brewer's actually Alex Simpson down the inside at the Interlagos of Martin Van Loosenot, and also Michael Dinkel also looking for that position. There's a huge twitch for Loosenot on the run up towards Ferradura. Here comes Dinkel down the inside, but the door gets shut in his face.
Oh, he had half a car width there of space. That's all he needed to keep it together, Martin Van Loosenod. He's now in an Apex Racing UK sandwich with the experienced Alex Simpson in front, the now experienced Michael Dinkel behind. Dinkel up the inside into turn 11. Whoa, that was close. And they're going to head towards 12 and form up once again. So Dinkel there, he's definitely looking more feisty than I've seen him in the past, Jake. A more improved Michael Dinkel after a long hiatus from the World Championship. Here he goes, another shot at P5.
If I was Loosenord, I'd dive down onto the lane right about now. He's looking very twitchy. The tyres aren't looking very good. And ERT, maybe that inexperience coming into play. Here comes Dinkel, thinking about the inside at 1. The room has to be given by Martin Van Loosenord. He will get the better run, though, through turn number 2. But around the outside, the long turn 3, all Dinkels. No chance for you, Martin Van Loosenord. And back down to position number 6 for the Dutch driver. And that will be so frustrating.
Yeah, unfortunately not good enough for him. Alex Sadler, though, off the racetrack again. And he's almost caught Bobby Zelensky on the exit. Montañez here around the outside. Jorge Montañez has been in every fight possible as Sadler starts weaving across this second straight. Under braking, contact between the two. Whoa, man, Alex Sadler's looking a bit unsettled there, Connery. And this is where composure comes into play. Is he going to maintain his line into 6? He sure does there as he turns in on Jorge Montañez. Zelensky now up the inside. When is this battle going to end? Bobby Zelensky optimistic, but he keeps it together. Good stuff from Bobby Zelensky, and Montañez in the end becomes worse off.
That was just a lesson in watching and waiting for Bobby Zelensky, and the opportunity did arise, and he took it with both hands and gets himself that position back over Jorge Montañez as Montañez was trying to fight with Sadler as they head into Yun Zhao now for the 26th time of 71. As actually Montañez around.
Yep, he's off. Jorge Montañez, it was inevitable. A lot of battling, a lot of sliding. He's coming up towards that pit stop window. You may as well box now and you'll be perfect for that one-stop strategy almost. It starts on lap 29 when the window opens. So Montañez, he does. So smart pit stop for Montañez. Don't speed on entry, please. Oh, I think he got there, Jake. Just enough. So Jorge Montañez will make his pit stop. Now, we talked about 2 stops. That was never going to happen. It's the McLaren. It's always a one-stop race. Montañez first to break the seal.
First to break the seal indeed, and he's got to be incredibly careful about his instant points. 4-second stop, done, gone, let's get going. 15 instants here today. We've seen Spolstra already caught out for it. Maybe Jorge Montañez could be the second person because he's been going off at 6s and 7s all day long, and he cannot keep that up going again, and Zelensky's gone off.
Oh, goodness me. Bob Zelensky had a quiet start, and now when he gets into a lot of drama, it's become worse off for him. He's behind Dan Brewer in that ERT car, and this is the battle for 16th, 17th, 18th between these three. I remember a couple of years ago, I was battling with Dan Brewer, and we had a collision at Monza. It was my fault, but I apologized so he wouldn't protest me. And then in the end, he said, I accept your apology, but I'm going to protest you because I need some points. So you know what? Moral of the story is Dan Brewer's competitive, and I like that in him. Here he goes up the inside of Giuseppe Ragusa. Dan Brewer up into P16, though. Ragusa goes for the cutback. And look at this here, Jake. Three-way battle for P16.
Three-way battle, and Zelensky looking to take the double. He thinks about going to the inside. They all do. They all move to the outside. Zelensky nowhere to go. He's boxed out of it completely. Ragusa in the Movano machine tries to go around the outside. That's not going to work. Zelensky thinks about it. No, not going to be an opportunity. Maybe up into Ferradura. Thought about the inside again, but is stuck on the outside at the double apex right, and he's going to need a good run off the exit. Not going to happen then in towards turn number 8. He's got to set it up a little bit later on in the lap. So the positions here, starting to think about it, pit stops. We're thinking now maybe lap 30 may be the time that everyone decides to jump, and lap traffic effectively becoming a process already with the driver of Jeff Gyasi right now. The final driver running here in this 27 car field now, it has to be classed as, and Riley Preston soon approaching.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going to happen is, I mean, the leaders have to wait for the mid-pack to pit, because right now, as Moritz Lohner enters the pit lane, as Connery says, pit lane lost time around 21 to 25 seconds. So the leaders at the moment, there's a gap between Ficarra and Orozco for Sebastian Job. Ficarra's 20 seconds behind, Orozco's 26 seconds behind. So he could pit now, but normally the leaders are strong on their tires too, and they don't need to pit early. As Moritz Lohner out and away, quick pit stop. Zoran Jonic also entered the box there. So these drivers have some clear track behind, and that's why they've entered early. Very important that we also note here, Connery, Michael Dinkel will probably have a long pit stop to repair that front wing.
Yep, and I think he will take that front wing repairs, as it seems like it is costing him at least a couple of tenths of a second a lap here, even though he's still saying relatively competitive lap times when all is said and done. Actually set almost the same lap time as Sebastian Job that last time by, but so he's doing very, very well considering that damage. Just got to think, if he didn't have that damage, what kind of lap times would Michael Dinkel be capable of?
Exactly. So Dinkel, career best result in the World Championship of 6th place, and he was on hiatus, playing tennis, doing whatever he does. I don't know what he does. I think he just plays tennis. And goes to work, and now he's back as Ricardo Orozco enters the pit lane. So Dinkel there, he's actually keeping his team boss a bit unsettled there, and Orozco missed his box there, Jake, and it's cost him quite a bit of time. About a very long pit stop for Orozco, finally out in the way after 11-12 seconds.
Front wing needed to be changed as well for him. Orient Talmont in, Giuseppe Ragusa in. So the back of the pack then deciding to come in around this lap 30 mark, thinking about it, hoping that they can get themselves an advantage on the tyres in the early stages, coming out of the box to get themselves as much as they can for that second part of the stint. But they know they'll cost their tyres later on in this. But of course, fuel's lighter in these stages, so they're easier on the tyres. This is about the start of the window where everyone's expecting moves to be done.
Yep, so Takana Suzuki in P22, he's behind Orozco now, as Ricardo Orozco, after that very, very long pit stop, is in P21. But the leaders, nobody's pounced at the moment. They all continue away on this lap. Just having a look at the rest of the drivers currently. No one's really made a move into the pits, have they, Jake? So Dan Brewer's coming now. He finally enters the pit box, and Daniel Brewer will search for that clear track, Connery.
Yeah, he will, and everyone basically committing to this one-stop strategy. We did hear from a reliable source, shall we say, that two-stop might be on the cards, but it seems like the drivers do disagree. It's side-by-side between Orozco and another driver there of an Eric Andre, the real championship racing driver. And Ricardo Orozco is just going to head his way through, because I don't think Eric Andre has come down on towards the lane just yet. Fernando Guerrero heading his way on towards the lane as well.
Yeah, so Fernando Guerrero and the pit stop for him. More than experienced in the McLaren and in the Williams too back in the day. So he's just trying to search for another World Championship license. He is experienced too. A couple other drivers who have been in the World Championship. We know Dinkel, Simpson, the same. Sebastian Job, Martin van Loosenhoorn, of course, and Diogo Oliveira, Massimiliano Ficaro. Now, don't forget actually as well, Riley Preston, who just can't seem to catch a break, Jake. He's always caught up in an incident. Half of them are sort of not his fault. It's just sometimes the luck of the draw, you know?
It sometimes is, and he's had a very, very bad 2017 even, shall I say. And of course, that also culminated in, I think it was with Peter Berryman, I think he had one of the scariest incidents at Interlagos at round 1, where he was violently flipped up over his roof and managed to hold it together, but was out of the event. But he lost half a second on that last lap, allowing the train of Simpson and Dinkel to come back in. And it's almost like you have to play the Jaws theme with Apex at the moment. And there's traffic just in front of them as well that they have to deal with. So Riley Preston right now, all the bad omens coming together at once.
Yeah, the EIT cars didn't look good towards the end of the stint. So that's something to look out for come the end of the race after they make their pit stop. Do they handle the Pirelli tyres well and the 700 kilograms of the McLaren MP430 at the end of the stint? Very important to look out for. Don't forget, Sebastian Job, Frederick Rasmussen, they have not. They are 2.7 seconds apart. Preston in the pit lane though, and a very important pit stop there, Connery, because we know he was struggling with the grip, struggling for traction. He's finally back in to gain some lap time.
Yeah, and Michael Dinkel also following the Evolution Racing Team driver in as well. And we've also got Michael Partington joining them down on the lane. Riley Preston gets out first, as is to be expected. Michael Dinkel can have that long stop because he's going to change that front wing. Will Michael Partington beat him off of pit road? Nope, he's just going to follow in behind.
Yep, so Partington, he's very close though here to Michael Dinkel. Diogo Oliveira could split the two here. This is very important for Diogo. He does. Dinkel has to watch out though, because Diogo has a very quick ERT car behind trying to make his way past. But Michael Dinkel, after that pit stop, is P8 there, Jake. And it's damage limitation really for Michael.
Damage limitation, and good damage limitation as well. Other things to note, Alex Sadler's jumped Rasmussen in the stops. That's something very crucial for Sadler as he looks to break away. But this is the thing. Everyone's looking at positions. Everyone's trying to gain. If you're a driver like Morris Loeffner right now, you're gaining on everyone. You're through on Tommy Osgaard. You're through looking to get to Partington and co. and hoping to get through. But Frederick Rasmussen is down on the lane.
Yep, 2.5 seconds behind Sebastian Job in the lead, and he's the first core sim racing car to pit. Out and away in a quick pit stop. Just over 4 seconds for Rasmussen. He had a very difficult box there, though, Connery, to exit. It wasn't the best of exits he could have hoped for, but you know, well, that's what you get when you're quick. You get that first box. Josh Rogers in, Martin van Loosenhoorn. Rest of the drivers in as well. And they're going to file behind. It looks like... Who's made their way past? Van Loosenhoorn is actually going to make his way behind Diogo Oliveira here. So Martin van Loosenhoorn has really lost out, Connery.
Yeah, he really has. Just slots himself between Oliveira and Michael Partington as they head their way into the Descida del Lago there. So not exactly the best strategy for Loosenhoorn at this moment in time. Riley Preston did manage to get past both of them in that stop. He's currently P number 3. Sebastian Job still not on the lane. In fact, he's on the lane right now as the number 3 driver heads his way down to get his one and only scheduled service. We expect him to retain the race lead unless Reddy is putting a monster of a lap.
Well, he can't miss his box. That's important for Sebastian, which he doesn't. Simple pit stop for him. He should be out and away in front of his teammate, who's creeping in closer and closer. We need that Jaw music soundtrack, as you said, Jake. There's a lot of drivers creeping in here at different positions. Sebastian Job, though, pits out and away. He's led 22 laps of this event. Frederick Rasmussen behind. We'll round out the order as soon as this pit stop phase is over, but it looks like almost everyone's made their pit stop. Carlo Labate yet to enter the pits down the order. He's currently in 16th position, and Takane Suzuki as well. He's currently in 23rd. Those two drivers, Jake, making this stint very long, and as I say that, Suzuki's hit the wall there at Yunsao, and hopefully that's not terminal damage.
Yeah, the McLaren looking a little bit more like a Suzuki then after that incident, and he'll be hoping that he can bring it down onto the lane. He does, so he'll make his stop as things stand, but Right now, I think Riley Preston will be the happiest man out of everybody in the stops because he's broken away from Alex Simpson. That extra lap has done him so much justice because he's gained again that 2-second window, 2, 3, 4-second window even, that just gets him away and gets him happy. And now you've got the likes of Oliveira, Van Loosenhoorn, Partington, 3 ERT machines in a row, and Josh Rogers here in what you have to say is the Australian battle, ERT versus Trans-Tasman, TTLR, whatever you call it. 9th position right now, looking to make that push further up the field. Josh Rogers has a mountain in front of him, and he can see he's just got to keep just getting himself right there in that situation and just picking away at the bones.
The Sebastian Job crossed the line. That's 50% of the distance in this event, and he currently leads by 2.2 seconds ahead of course Sim Racing teammate Fredrik Rasmussen. They did start in opposite order on the front row of the race, so Rasmussen lost that lead on lap 12, gifted it to Sebastian Job. He's never looked back since. Martin Van Loosenhoorn made his way past Oliveira. In the meantime, they're in 6th position, Martin Van Loosenhoorn. Behind Riley Preston in 3rd, 8.8 seconds behind. He's had a solid race after starting this race from 6th on the grid, and he is just trying to find his way into the World Championship for 2018. He's doing the right thing at the moment. He's ahead of 2 Apex cars, of Alex Simpson and Michael Dinkel. Those two are also trying to return to the World Championship. Martin Van Loosenhoorn, we just spoke about, currently in the 6th position, very close to both Apex cars, but he's under attack from Diogo Oliveira, who's currently in 7th, within a second of Martin Van Loosenhoorn. Rounding out the top 10, Michael Partington, Josh Rogers. They're also in a quite nifty scrap at the moment. They're in P8 and P9. Massimiliano Picardo. Oh, let me say that again. Massimiliano Picardo, much better. He's been in P10 for most of the event after qualifying 11th. He rounds out the top 10. Down the order, Lochner, Osgard, Sadler, Rasmussen, Orozco is our top 15. Dan Brewer, Giuseppe Ragusa, Bobby Zelensky, Zoran Jonic and Jorge Montañez find their way in our top 20. Now Jorge, remember, started this race from 10th. He had a spin here and there, a couple of moments, and he's all the way down the order. Fernando Guerrero, Aurelian Talmon, quiet races for those two. They're in 21st and 22nd. The rest of the field still remaining. Enric Andre, Carlo Labatti, Istvan Below, Takani Suzuki, and Jeff Giassi. 2 retirements, Boris Spolstra and Matt Busser. But the rest of the field, very impressive here for the first round of the iRacing Road Pro Series. You're watching on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. Jonathan Simon in the commentary booth alongside Jake Sperry, Connery Maddock, Hugo Luis behind the scenes induction, and Jake. This is the second stint of the race, and I'm really concerned just to see how the Apex Racing U cars travel along in this stint.
Now, that's going to be the interesting factor. 1:12.8 from Alex Simpson that last time by. That was the second quickest lap he's done. He did a 1:12.6 the lap for that. So Alex Simpson has a good turn of pace against Riley Preston, 1:13 flat. So he is just starting to bring that gap right back down in. Exactly what he needs to do in this situation. And in fact, that was the fastest lap of the day that we have just seen from that driver of Alex Simpson. So to say that you're worried, if he's got the fastest lap of the race, I think there's no worry needed.
Yeah, exactly. So that proved me wrong. That's more than enough than what he needs. But look at this scrap here, Connery. Diogo Oliveira, P7. Michael Partington behind in the ERT car. And what about Josh Rogers? He's currently in P9. And Josh Rogers, always quick, always fast. What can he do now? Let's have a look.
Let's see what he can do. But if you're Josh Rogers right now, P number 9, not really the plan, especially when you qualify P number 7 and your practice times were looking very, very good as well. A little bit of a twitch from Michael Partington coming off the underside corner, but it doesn't lose him all that much momentum on the run down towards turn number 1. And you've also got to consider that Partington's on 1 lap all the tires, Oliveira's on 2 lap all the tires. Actually down the inside goes Partington from a long way back there on Diogo Oliveira, gets the position coming through San Reses, but the thing is, now Oliveira has to deal with Joshua Rogers now coming through the Curva del Sol. Joshua Rogers will get DRS, and Oliveira actually just completely stalls in the middle of the street there. Maybe an ERS issue for him, but Joshua Rogers makes his way by.
Double whammy for Diogo Oliveira. He finds his way into P9. Experience did nothing for him there, as the two young guns of Michael Partington and Josh Rogers make their way past Mike Partington, who I've known for many years, he's very quick. He started off in different platforms of simulators, Jake. He's made his way to iRacing. He's here to showcase his talent. He's doing quite an impressive job here on his debut race for the Pro Series.
Yeah, he is, and you have to remember he's been doing very well for at least the past 6 months or so. You talk about world's fastest gamer, he was one of those drivers up inside the top 5 of that, including drivers like Ilka Harpala. You put into that sort of mix of drivers who was going for Shothos, Davide Corps, drivers who are already proven. He was the best of the unproven as things stood, but he's not over and done with, because Josh Rogers will just look to hang on to the back of him almost like a leech to a rock when you get onto the beaches. And well, he hopes to try and get himself into play. Good run through turn number 2. Through 3, he's going to have to track out a little bit wider though as Josh Rogers, and now he can use all of the DRS that is available to him, all of the ERS in that machine. Down to the inside goes Josh Rogers, and you know what? This is not easy. It's side by side remains.
I thought it was going to be candy from a baby, but Mike Partington is more than robust around the outside. Here they go into Ferradura. Partington's going to close the apex down. He does. Close the inside now. There he goes. Brilliant defending from Michael Partington. And he remains in P7 for yet another lap. And he's just going to watch out, though, because he doesn't want to lose any more time to Martin van Loosenhoort in front. So, teammates right now, because you've got P6 ERT, P7 ERT, P9 ERT. I mean, Connery, this is like almost a gift for him, but the only issue is Josh Rogers is here to ruin the party.
Yeah, he really is, and he's going to tuck in the slipstream coming through the final couple of left-handers now. It is close enough to make a DRS move coming down into turn number 1. Partington, no DRS to defend with. Here comes Rogers down towards the inside for the center S's, at least for the first part, but as we have seen before, you can hang it around the outside and defend side by side through both apexes there. Josh K. Rogers still on the inside for Curva del Sol. Partington has to hang it around the outside, and it's going to be DRS again for Rogers here. He could get this move done down into the Descida del Lago, but will he? Will Partington hang around the outside? The answer to that one's going to be no. Tries to cross over, but Rogers parks it in the middle of the apex. Here comes Diego Oliveira now, right on the back of them because they've been fighting.
Oh, splendid overtake there from Josh Rogers. Parked it on the apex.
Labate around.
Did everything it could. Carlo Labate, though, a spin here, Jake.
Yeah, and that one out of Ferradura. It's a very weird situation. In fact, there's multiple vehicles involved. Labate getting through on Ballo, involving an Eric Andre as well, and Andre into the rear of Labate, collecting 3 vehicles in the process, and having to get out of it was Sebastian Job in that situation, almost getting involved. And now the 2 teammates battle for the lead.
Oh, here they go. So Sebastian Job's lost a lot of time, and Frederick Rasmussen could snatch the lead here. So in that whole incident, Sebastian Job took to the outside of the racetrack there at Ferradura, and now it could cost him a race victory, possibly. He's really got to defend hard here as they head into turn 4, the Descida del Lago. Rasmussen only a few tenths behind. Not enough, though, to make a move. And the 2 core sim racing cars need to make sure that they keep both cars in a straight line. They don't take each other out. And one of these 2 core cars will hopefully win the race here, Connery.
Yeah, one of these 2, unless something completely, absolutely horrendous happens to both of these cars as they fight for the lead. Because of that reason, I don't think they're going to fight too hard for it in terms of leaving space for the other driver. As, yeah, we're going to go for an onboard with Freddie Rasmussen.
Let's have a look at Freddie Rasmussen. So he's just... he's going to flick on DRS, hopefully, obviously. Here he goes now. DRS is open around this zone, so he's going to increase his top speed up to 335 kilometers an hour for the core sim racing car, but not enough to make his way past Sebastian Job. Let's have a look, and let's ride on board with Frederick Rasmussen for a few more corners. Let's see if he can reel in the lead. qualifying, Jake. And qualifying, it was just an absolute splendid, graceful lap for Fredrik Rasmussen. But this time around, I think he's really trying to push to beat his teammate. He's under pressure from Sebastian Job.
He is, and I think it's almost a validity question here for Fredrik Rasmussen, because Rasmussen's been in the team longer than Sebastian Job has, and Rasmussen has been, for all intents and purposes, labelled the darling of core as things stand. And this is a very strong core that has, like, Fredrik Rasmussen in it, Sebastian Job, Isaac Price with the world's fastest gamer seat as well. They've got 3 drivers that they can easily claim as being the top of core, and they're all scrapping amongst each other to try and prove themselves. Now you've got this straight one-on-one fight between Job and Rasmussen. Even for Rasmussen's efforts, Sebastian Job now questions what Rasmussen does, even in his GT3 career, even though this is a Formula 1 race.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what? I know what you're saying. At the same time, though, Connery, you don't want to overthink it. I think Fredrik, as well, he's very quick. He could figure it out by the end of the season. He could be as dominant as Martin Kroenke in the future. Who knows? It's just about trying to figure out this McLaren. He's done a lot of testing for this team during the year. He's been ready for this moment for more than a long time behind the scenes. So he's a driver where he hasn't just jumped into the McLaren last week and he's got a lot of work to do. He still has learning to do, but he's been practicing all year. So I don't know whether you need to panic at this stage, whether you think, are we just underestimating how quick Sebastian Job is?
I think if you're Fredrik Rasmussen, you don't have to panic at this stage. There's absolutely no problem with this. You know, there's 2 completely different, well, not completely different, but 2 different skill sets between this open wheel racing and the GT racing that Freddie is very, very insanely quick at with the Blancpain GT and all related things. So I don't think he's too concerned with Joe finishing, well, might finish ahead of him here. He's just got to run his own race and get P number 2. He's still going to get a good points haul for finishing P number 2. So right now, the only objective for these guys is to just finish in that top 10 in points, no matter if you win a race or not.
Yeah, exactly. So the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series licenses for next year will be handed to the top 10 of the championship. That's what the Pro Series is about for this season. It's been changed a couple of times, the format, over the past few years, but it always provides a challenge to some of the world's best sim racers, and they will join 30 of the best from this season who have sustained their license in the championship standings. Now, Jake, I want to go back to our point we brought up before, because can I tell you something? Sebastian Job with a year off the World Championship. That sabbatical, it's like taking a year off after somebody finishes high school, for example. It can make a huge difference to your life. For Sebastian Job, it's a huge difference to his racing and sim racing career. He's revitalized, he's got vitality, he could be a new Sebastian Job for the future with maybe a couple of race victories on hand.
Yeah, it certainly could be, and it seems that he has settled very well into a close-knit group of friends, and I think that's what core sim racing does better than a lot of other teams, in my opinion. I think that they really do make that happen very, very well, is that if you are with us, you're in our little part of the club. That's why you get things like Secret popping up here and there. You keep hearing about it all the time, even though most people don't really know what that's all about. But right now, I keep my eye on Fredrik Rasmussen, because he has been closing that gap in little by little by little, and just trying to work Sebastian Job right now, trying to pressure him into a mistake, trying to force him off the road a little bit without trying to get side by side. Mind games coming into play on lap 47.
Oh, possibly. So there's still many laps to go in this event, obviously. We're still waiting for a possible lead change again. I mean, Rasmussen hasn't led the event since lap 12. Sebastian Job's led the other 34 laps, and he could be on to lead a 35th at the moment on lap 47 of the event. Behind Riley Preston's 10 seconds behind, so Preston's been dropped off by the pair. Alex Simpson in 4th, followed by Michael Dinkel rounding out the top 5. Then it's Van Loosenhoorn, Rogers, Partington, Oliveira, and Massimiliano Ficcardo, as we have a nice scrap going on here between Jeff Giassi and Carlo Labate. They're very close to each other, so Jeff Giassi at the moment He's had a very quiet race, but you know what? The Pro Series experience is very important here, Connery, right? I mean, the driver from Brazil, he gets to expose himself. It's something where a prospective team could say, hey, he's doing impressive. He's consistent, respectful. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. For a lot of these teams and drivers in this race right now, this isn't a case of we want to get to the Pro Series. It's more of a learning experience, especially for the bottom half of the field like this. It's just to find your feet, try and find where the pace is, and see if you can beat some of those faster guys. You know, you never know what might happen. Those fast guys might have a bad day, and you can gain a couple of points as a result. So those guys are just running well.
Yeah, but at this circuit as well, Jake, aero isn't too critical. But some drivers will take a few degrees off the wing for sort of that lower angle on the straight to help the overtaking. You can still achieve the same lap times, so that makes sense. Whereas some drivers go for the high downforce setup and maybe don't get enough speed on the straight, and they could find themselves in some trains. So depending on core now, if Job and Rasmussen are maybe going on two separate paths in terms of setup, that can also come into play. I mean, Rasmussen reaches up to about 336 kilometers an hour, plenty of top speed. He's almost up to 338 last time around, so plenty of usage of the energy recovery system too.
Yeah, and you look at the situation that drivers have, maybe they try and get that higher downforce setup sorted, because that middle sector of the lap, which can be a massive, massive time loser when you get yourself all the way down through, that may be somewhere that Frederick Rasmussen starts thinking about, starts looking at, starts trying to dissect and pick off, and that's maybe why he had such a good one-lap pace, but maybe he's starting to struggle here in overall race pace with that higher downforce going through. To 16 though, out of the machine. That's Fernando Guerrero, and that's a driver that you are very, very fond of.
Yep, a very good friend of mine, Fernando Guerrero. He is out of the event. He becomes our third retirement. He's in that pit box for quite a while at the moment. How long's that pit time? I think our live time is wrong. He's out of the car, isn't he? I was about to say, my pit time said 1,300 seconds, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he hasn't been sat in the box for that long. So he's out of the car, and he's unfortunately become our third retirement of round number 1 for the iRacing Road Pro Series. Never good to retire, Connery. This is, by the way, as we look at a battle here between Orozco and Rasmussen, this is a very complicated car to drive. It's not something that you can just pick up and be quick in. And this is where, if you join iRacing, right, Connery, you should be going through the Rookie Series, go through the Pro Mazda, the Skip Barber, all those other cars, and then finally reach this McLaren, where it takes a lot of technical knowledge to understand it. And you see this in real life too in Formula 1, just very well simulated in iRacing, maybe too well simulated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, especially when you consider that the drivers upgrading to this car will be coming from the likes of the Formula Renaults and the Star Mazdas, which are relatively simple cars to set up. But these beasts, they're a completely different beast with the ERS system, the various suspension settings. A lot of the teams, in fact, all of the teams will use software like Motec and a couple of other bits of software to try and fine-tune the setup, look at the graphs, trying to get where they need to be in terms of the setup to try and gain that extra half a tenth.
And Jake, the McLaren is, you know, who knows what the next car will be in the future. Obviously, we'll get an update sometime soon. The Williams was the car for many years, McLaren next, but drivers still enjoy this. They enjoy the challenge. You know, pressing all these different buttons on the wheel, that kind of stuff. You just want to focus on racing, I know, but you generally talk to the drivers, and this is also a knowledge type of car. You know, you can't just jump in and just drive and be quick. And that can be a challenge for some drivers who just jump into any car and they're just instantly quick. This car is about setup knowledge, deploying the ERS at the right time. All that comes into play, and that's where you know, a high IQ is very responsible to hire to your team. A driver with very high IQ.
I think it works both ways. I think that what it does is it means that you have to be a thinking man's driver, and not every driver is necessarily a thinking man's driver, as Alex Simpson has closed the gap down to 1 second between himself and Riley Preston. Very interesting to note. And I think it also means that it also pushes away certain teams from coming into the Road to Pro. I think that it does push away drivers thinking they can make it and thinking they want to do this. And I think it almost disenfranchises certain people from being a Formula 1 team and will rather pushes them to maybe the likes of Blancpain and maybe to other series like Formula Renault, teams like Carbon Racing who could very easily go and make a challenge here. Drivers like Mark Jarvis and Angus Waddell, who wouldn't necessarily go and drive this if it wasn't for the fact that they were in a situation where they were going to look and push it.
Touche, amen. I don't know what else to say. We got battles on the racetrack now. Alex Simpson within a second of Riley Preston for that final podium position. That battle for the lead, by the way, is ongoing between Job and Rasmussen. They're within 0.3 to half a second now of each other. We were watching Ricardo Orozco for quite a while. He's maybe going to have a look on Nicholas Rasmussen. I feel like, I don't know how this works here, Jake, but I feel like Nicholas Rasmussen's been passed by 100 cars, yet he's gone up 5 positions. How does that work? I don't understand. He's about to be passed by Ricardo Orozco now. Up the inside goes Ricardo. And look at the defensive driving there from Nicholas Rasmussen. He's going to have the inside going at Ferradura here. Roscoe, what a twitch, what a save for Ricardo. And he has to sustain P15 for yet another lap.
And there was a lot of dirty air coming over the nose of that vehicle, riding shotgun, shall we say, to Nicholas Rasmussen. And he's lucky that he's kept that vehicle going straight. That would have scared him. Probably witless right now, I think is probably the word that you could say at this moment. So Nicholas Rasmussen, I have to give him credit here. He's had very good pit stop strategy. And yes, he lost 2 positions earlier on, but he's always been in a battle and he's always been having to defend from the front. And when he hasn't made mistakes, he has been very difficult to get past and has proven yet again why he can be that driver who is always very interesting to look at. And right now, you'd have to say, Connery, you know, you're in a situation, these drivers look to go through. If you're in a battle at this late stage of the event with, what, 18, 19 laps to go, you're looking to try and have this major push to get yourself to the end. It's always going to be about holding in.
Yeah, exactly. But Rasmussen and Orozco right now battling for P number 14, which isn't really going to do it in terms of points to get themselves inside the top 10 at the end of this season. Need to be doing a little bit better than this for both drivers. I know both of them are capable of getting themselves inside that top 10, but here at Interlagos, just currently not happening for them. As I'm looking back towards what's going to be the battle for P number 2, that is still closing up bit by bit by bit. Alex Simpson definitely on a charge right now, getting within the DRS zone of Riley Preston, but still no door opening for him at the moment.
No doors opening then. Simpson versus Preston, the gap coming down 7/10 of a second. Rasmussen versus Job, 3/10 of a second. Traffic in front. Jeff Giassi there in the number 26 machine will have to get out of the way here at the Pinarino and very sensibly moves to the outside. No issues at all. Nothing happening just there yet. But Rasmussen, over the past 3 laps, you'd have to say right now here, Johnny, 4/10 of a second over the last 3 laps. Rasmussen's there, but he's got no bite to make it happen.
Yeah, at the moment, you're right. It's just that extra edge, you know, he needs the bite. It's very well worded there, because the little oomph, the little dose of nasty he doesn't have right now, he's gonna have to maybe maintain P2 for the rest of this race, because I just don't think he's got it. Prove me wrong, Fred, because at the moment through turn number 1 and 2, he's been this close lap after lap, but he just can't find a way past. He'll flick on DRS here on the Reto Aposta, but he's just too far behind. I mean, 3/10, 2/10. He has to, I mean, the middle sector is very difficult to overtake in here, Connery, too. It's not easy unless the driver in front makes a mistake, and these 2 guys are some of the world's best. Making a mistake in sim racing is a way of the past.
Yeah, it really is. And usually in more tin top racing, GT racing, you get side-by-side action all the way through this middle sector. But with the open wheel cars, Freddie Rasmussen goes for a half slide there. Where is Riley Preston? There is Jeff Giassi making his way through. Riley Preston's still way too far behind to capitalize on that one, but heart-in-mouth moment for Rasmussen.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay. So Rasmussen just lost it on the exit, applying the throttle with the right foot, and he's very smart to just slam on the brakes and not cause any 360-degree spin. So Rasmussen now has to be very cautious, Jake, because we know what happens when you have those mini slides. The tires get worse and worse. They start to heat up and the grip starts to deplete.
Exactly, and they may be starting to even flat spot after a braking area like that. You're normally told when you go all throughout all forms of racing, please, whatever you do, do not slam the brakes when you go into a spin, because, you know, you're just going to hold yourself out against it. Right now, he did the right thing in that situation. He held his car where it needed to be, made sure that he was very easy for himself to be avoided in that situation. He's lost 4 seconds to Job, and that's probably the victory deciding that situation. But Frederick Rasmussen, we did say at the beginning of the broadcast, Johnny, how will the inexperience come into play for him? How will he be struggling when it comes to that event? There's the first sign of Rasmussen making mistakes.
Yeah, his pressure's on. So as Diogo Oliveira now is very close to Massimiliano Ficado. I think actually Ficado's made his way past, hasn't he? Into
He has into
P9. So Ficado finally out of P10. He's missed a 9 now. And he started in 11th, 2 spots up. Oliveira started in 9th. Finally lost the position this race. He's had a solid event though, Connery, Diogo Oliveira. And the ERT team is really trying to aim for those licenses for next season. They're trying to get all the cars in as much as possible. And I think they're doing quite a good job for their first Pro Series race.
Yeah, they have many cars inside of the top 10 as it stands. Riley Preston, you've got Martin van Loosenhoort, you've got Michael Partington, and it's just overall been a very, very good day for them. The other super team, as we call them, in terms of numbers, have been PSR, and they haven't really been having a great day. Highest placed car for them right now is Tommy Ostergaard in P number 11, which is a good result for him, especially when you consider he started P number 23. So Ostergaard making mincemeat out of the entire field, at least in the back half of that field. Currently a bit of no man's land in terms of clear air in front of him, but still running well.
And good stuff from Tommy. He's had some brilliant overtakes here today as well. Finds his way in P11 after starting in 23rd. Other movers and shakers through your field. Moritz Lochner started 20th. He's currently behind Tommy Ostergaard in the 12th position. Yes, Jake?
Riley Preston's dropped 2 positions over the last lap, a 120.8. He's lost positions to both Dinkel and Simpson.
Yep, exactly. So we'll try and find what happened there, but on our timing screens anyway, Riley Preston's showing up as P5, so not sure when that occurred, but
I've got it.
Yep, it's at turn 2, isn't it?
Yeah, turn 2, exit, gets himself way too aggressive, tries to save it, tank slapper and around a light scrape with the Armco barrier on the inside with the rear wing. He gets away with it, but he now drops himself to the battle between Van Loosenhoort and Josh Rogers now, P6, P7.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. Those spins really catch you unaware. Josh Rogers, though, behind Martin Van Loosenhoort here on the Red Aposta. Very close. Not close enough, though, to make a move. Van Loosenhoort, though, has an abysmal exit there out of turn 4. Here's Josh Rogers going for a move at Ferradura. He picks the outside line. Look at the rubber he's got there as Martin Van Loosenhoort parks it on the apex, and Rogers cannot find a way through. An overly defensive Martin Van Loosenhoort keeps P6. Brilliant stuff there. Martin's been racing very well here, Connery, today. We know how aggressive he is normally, and he's really, you know what? Hats off to him. Good stuff.
Oh, Orozco around. Around at the Decido del Lago. I think this was contact between himself and Nicholas Rasmussen. Rasmussen trying to defend on that inside line. Went early on the defense, had to force Orozco around the outside, and then a little bit of contact on the apex sends Orozco around.
Very, very unfortunate incident there, Jake. So Orozco, who started this race in the 18th position, he was up into 15th, now back to 19th. All that hard work gone to pieces.
Yeah, it happens in racing at times, and Ricardo Orozco will be the first one to tell you that there wasn't too much in that one between the pair of them, as Dan Brewer's turned around as well down at Junsao, and that one not coming from any contact at all. That was right in front of the train, which included the likes of Ragusa, Zelensky and Montañez, so lucky that he didn't get involved in that one. But right now, there's still that battle going on with Joshua Rogers because he's through.
He made his way through, and that was at the center S, basically on the exit. So a very big moment for Martin Van Loosenhoort at turn 3, and Rogers slotted his way past. Finally into P6, Josh Rogers, after starting this race in 7th. 2 positions lost for Martin Van Loosenhoort since the green flag was waved. and the race began for 71 laps. We are approaching 10 laps to go. Sebastian Job now 3.8 seconds ahead of Fredrik Rasmussen. What is going on for Fredrik Rasmussen there? As soon as we take our eyes off, he's lost an immense amount of time. That was on lap 55, remember, after that spin. And if you didn't catch it, rewind a few minutes back. Rasmussen hoping that his tires just hoping that they stayed together, right? I would assume for Jake Connery. I mean, I think they're quite up to temperature at the moment. So at the moment, he's gaining time on Sebastian Job, but he's just, I think it's too little too late. And what can he do though, Jake, right now? He's got 3-4 seconds back. There's nothing really he can do at the moment.
Well, there is something he can do, and that is continue to apply the pressure on Sebastian Job and hope he makes a mistake. It's the Senna-Prost effect that comes into play. It doesn't matter how far away your driver is, whether it's 3 seconds, 0.2 of a second, 45 seconds, a lap. You keep pushing, you keep applying that pressure, because you know that if you stop making that pressure, people will start making things happen. And Sebastian Job with a horror lap of 13.8, effectively a 13.9. Look at that, the gap now suddenly down to 3 seconds, and now it's 0.3 of a second a lap he needs to get himself back to Sebastian Job. Job's got pressure now. Freddie's coming.
Yeah, I agree with Jake there, Connery, but if you look at the other side, I mean, Sebastian Job kept Fredrik Rasmussen behind since lap 12 of the event. Fredrik couldn't find a way past. Is there a reason to be nervous for Sebastian?
No, I don't think if it's Sebastian Job, he should be nervous really at all, because he knows Fredrik Rasmussen had that little half spin. His tyres are pretty much overcooked right now, and it's, again, look at the twitch coming out of the corner there, out of the left-hander. Rasmussen's tyres aren't surviving at this stage. He's got 10 laps to go. He should be able to keep it on the grey stuff and get it to the end, but that is also another warning to a couple of other drivers out there that these tyres, they're going off very, very quickly.
Yeah, towards the end of the stint, so you'll see a couple teams here struggle. Let's have a look at how ERT go in comparison to Apex Racing UK in that battle. But Sebastian Job will cross the line. 10 laps to go in this event, and he leads by 2.9 seconds ahead of Fredrik Rasmussen. Fredrik chips away another 1/10 of a second on his teammate here. He still has a shot at victory in P2. Alex Simpson in P3, he was gifted that spot after Riley Preston's spin. Preston in 5th. They're split by Michael Dinkel in the 4th position. That's your top 5 for the event with 10 laps to go. The rest of the top 10, it's Josh Rogers. Splendid race from him so far. He's made some great overtakes. He's been graceful through them all. He's in the 6th position, just ahead of Martin van Moosnoord, who's dropped off rapidly from Josh Rogers after that overtake. He's 2.1 seconds behind Josh. He's in the 7th position. Michael Partington 8th. Massimiliano Ficcardo, solid race, solid job, quiet stuff. That's what you want out of a driver. Good solid points for him. He's in 9th. And Diogo Oliveira is in the 10th position. Just looking out from the outside is Tommy Osgaard. He's in 11th. But every point matters, Jake, with 10 laps to go, because you never know what it might come down to on the 27th of January. That final round, those top 10 spots are critical.
They are, and any points, if it's even 11th position, maybe 10, 11th place finishes, gets you a spot you don't know how everyone's going to drive every single week. You've got to make sure that you are making something happen in the final stages of this championship, at any stage in the championship. One driver may miss a round in the late stages. There may be no chances for you to recover. And it even comes down to battles like this one with the 18 and the 23, Jorge Montañez and Giuseppe Ragusa going at it together. There's got to be a chance at any given point, and a poor exit there for Montañez. Thought about the inside, the door was shut by the driver of Giuseppe Ragusa. These points mean everything, because if someone starts messing up front and people get involved in incidents, those consistent points bring you back into the title picture.
Yeah, exactly so. I'm going to look out for that. Zoran Jonic right behind Dan Brewer and Tion Sao. This is very close. Dan Brewer, my man, you are under attack from the Orion Racing Team car behind. Here's Zoran Jonic heading for P19. We haven't spoken about him much this race. Zoran started in 17th, dropped down the order quite rapidly up to 327 kilometers an hour. He seemed to lose some ERS there at the end of the straight here, Connery, so that cost him a chance at an overtake. Let's see if he can repeat here at the Red Bull Aposta.
Yeah, meanwhile, Montana's went through on Ragusa, but here comes Zoran Jonjic over Dan Brill with the help of the DRS heading down towards the Interlagos, but it doesn't seem that there's any ERS power in that Orion race team car as he heads his way down the inside, still manages to complete the move, but even with the DRS, he basically just stalled out before the braking zone. Still manages to get the move done, but perhaps a little bit harder than he perhaps would have wanted it.
Yeah, almost looked like a parked car. He was going nowhere, so he made his way through, though. You can't complain. Dan Brewer's got to watch out for Aurelien Talamon. He's in P21, and he's ready to pounce too. So Aurelien's coming. I'll let you know that much. And can I just point out one quick story here, Jake? Michael Dinkel lost a lot of time in his pit stop. He's creeped all the way back up to teammate Alex Simpson. Remember that we've got a battle for the lead going on between one team, of course, in racing, and a battle for the final podium position with another team. This is like Mercedes-esque versus Ferrari / Red Bull / Williams in 2014, for example.
And Orozco is out, officially classed as out of this event in the number 5, so his day will be done. But yes, I do agree with you, Johnny, in the sense that we are seeing inter-team battles in that sense, but the big difference is there's no advantage for that team up front. This is all, everyone has the same tools to be working with. All they've got to work out is the setup better than someone else's. And it goes to show you, if you can gain 15 seconds on very quick rivals who've proved themselves over again, that's a very, very big thing that keeps you going. And the word is, Johnny, that it's an instant limit 15 hit.
Yeah, so good stuff from Connery Maddock. Behind the scenes, Connery. Was that an instant limit, right?
He got a 1x off track just before he went out of the race. So that is me putting 2 and 2 together.
There you go, Jake. Jake, have you ever been disqualified for an incident limit before?
Oh yes.
Yeah, mate. How many times? Half your races? 3/4? No, just messing around. You're a better reporter though than you are a racer, surely.
I have one win in 64.
You're a better commentator, don't worry. So that's it. That's Jake Sperry, Connery Maddock alongside him. I'm Jonathan Simon. Hugo Luis, with all his hard work behind the scenes, he's been impressive. He's got a world championship to his name too, so he just lays back, grabs the Corona or whatever they drink in Brazil, and enjoys the race in production. Michael Dinkel, though, far from drunk. He's trying to make his way into the top 3. And he's getting closer and closer. I like this right now, Jake. Look at that. 1/10 the gap. It's getting closer. While I say that, oh, he's actually going to make a move here. Michael Dinkel for the final podium position. Oh, candy from a baby. The 2 Apex Racing UK cars swap. And that is it for Alex Simpson. He just had no power, no speed. What happened there?
He just didn't apply the ERS down the straight. He just didn't use any of it. I wouldn't say team orders, because Alex Simpson actually in the vehicle team boss would probably be giving those team orders, but he said, go on, you're faster, Michael. I'm not going to be fighting this one because I know that there's more important things at stake than getting into a big tussle with you. And of course, being the team boss, Alex Simpson, even if you do get into a fight with him, you're probably going to come out losing if he's the team boss, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to talk about politics, to be honest with you. So I'm not getting involved in that. Connery, going back to the core battle, Sebastian Job, not last lap, but the lap before, 6/10 faster than Frederick Rasmussen. Another lap before that, about 3/4 faster if you're following racespot.tv/timing. I think this race is done for P1 and 2 unless a mistake happens. And I think Alex Simpson, though, for the final podium position, I reckon he has a shot here to fight his way back.
He could do, but yeah, even with the amount of traffic that Sebastian Job had to deal with over those last 2 laps, you can see Frederick Rasmussen working his way through the traffic right now, is still going faster. While Sebastian Job in the traffic than Freddie was doing in clear air. That is just a job just stamping his authority on this race right now, as Simpson still not letting Dinkel get away, even though Dinkel has been faster in terms of overall pace for the second stint after he got that damage repaired. So Simpson really has to stay within the DRS zone here, but he risks losing it right now, as that looks very, very close.
Yeah, it does. So Dinkel, Simpson, 7/10, splitting those 2. That is the second closest battle on track, because Aurelien Talamon still can't make his way past Dan Brewer, who's also close to Zoran Jonjic. Zoran Jonjic, though, is quite quick. They're split by one of the core cars is Rasmussen. So this is where Fredrik Rasmussen's trying to lap all these cars here, Jake. The traffic's in the way, and it's just... I remember what happened to Sebastian Job earlier on when Eric Andre and Carlo Labate, they all clashed together. It's just,
and speaking of the devil, that's an Eric Andre off.
Oh man, so Eric Andre having a very poor event. I still remember the first time I commentated on him earlier at the year at Imola. This is for the Race Spot Race Day event. He was very impressive. P5 in his debut event. Top split here. He's doing well, Eric Andre, but not today. He's got a day to forget for himself. Qualified in P26. Currently P25, 2 laps down.
Well, Real Championship as a team, Johnny, you have to say, are having a massive learning curve because they're not traditionally that team that goes through. And in terms of French sim racing, they always look to push themselves through. And so they're always looking to try and bring themselves back into play. But Talmon, his teammate, against Dan Brewer, down to the inside at turn number 1. And, well, they've got 3 laps to go to make something happen. There's an up and under attempt by Talmon. He'll get a better run off of the exit towards turn number 4, down the Reto Aposta towards the Desquita de Lago. Defensive early from Dan Brewer here, as it's going to be a scrap between the Frenchman and the Englishman. And there is a twitch trying to go through from Talmon. He won't get the move.
Oh, thrilling battle between these two. Unfortunately, it's only for P19, so not much available on offer for points for these two, but you might as well do it. Might as well have some fun at the end of the event. 3 laps remaining. Sebastian Job has never looked back since that lap 12 overtake. Alex Sadler very close to Moritz Lochner. This will be for P12. DRS enabled for Mr. Alex Sadler. And the Radicals Online car straight past the Core Motorsports car. He has a bit of troubles under braking, but I think Lochner here is trying to set up the line on the exit. Game not over at the moment. Lochner, what an exit there. You can see the rubber he has. Alex Sadler, he's always that aggressive defending. Nobody flicks on DRS here on this straight. And at turn 4, Sadler parks it on the apex. That should be it, but you never know, Connery, going up the hill into Ferradura.
Yeah, the reason why no one had DRS that time was because Luna had to tap the brakes behind Alex Sadler, forgot to reopen his DRS, because if you apply the brakes when you have the DRS open in these McLaren MP430s, the DRS automatically closes. Luna just forgot to reopen it once he tapped the brakes.
Yeah, exactly. So good battles to win this event. Now, Jake, race is coming to a close. It looks like Sebastian Job's got one hand on the trophy. As I'm watching that, Rasmussen has a huge moment there at the exit of Ferradura. He could have binned it. And Jake, that pretty much sums up the story of this race. Rasmussen, potential, he's had the speed, but Job, the experience. He could take victory. Last lap next time around.
Last lap this time around. So right now, Fredrik Rasmussen, you feel that there are a few areas of his game he now needs to learn and develop for the next week's worth of action. Well, Freddie needs to know that Sebastian Job looks like he is going to be meaning business. The white flag will be classed as out for this one. 1 lap to go for Sebastian Job, and a welcome return to form, and a welcome return of intent.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I mean, Connery, what a race for Core Sim Racing 2. A 1-2 finish. Apex Racing UK at the moment on par for a 3 and 4.
Yep, pretty much everything is going to plan right now for Core Sim Racing, with just 3/4 of a lap to go for Sebastian Job to get himself towards the checkered flag. His first win in quite a while after taking that year off from WCS competition. He is back, and he's back with a vengeance.
It definitely is, Sebastian Job. Look at the rubber here at the end of the race. Well simulated. Tarmac getting darker and darker, but that is not worrying Sebastian Job. Only ever finished P2 in the World Championship, never claimed victory, but when it comes to the Pro Series, Sebastian Job is the cream of the crop. He's on his way towards what should be a scintillating victory. Only a few more seconds to go. What a victory for Sebastian Job. He wins round number 1 of the iRacing Road Pro Series. Brilliant stuff. And Core Sim Racing claim a 1-2 finish as Fredrik Rasmussen crosses the line, and he celebrates dearly with first and second. Then we wait quite a few seconds for Michael Dinkel to come home in that final podium position. What a way to begin round number 1 for the Apex Racing UK team. Alex Simpson right behind in 4th. And Riley Preston for ERT. They'll be happy with P5. It's some solid points for them. But what about Josh Rogers, the young man in P6? Great event for him so far. He started this race all the way down in 7th. Only 1 position gained. He was down the order quite a bit after a shocking start. And then Martin van Loosnoord 7th. Partington crossed the line in 8th for ERT as well. Ficara 9th. Wonderful quiet event from Massimiliano Ficara. Diogo Oliveira again for ERT. What a race there. Sebastian Job, Jake. What a victory. Well deserved. And he's trying to collect rubber here. The way you do it in the real world.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Sebastian Job arguably had the biggest pace out of everybody in the field. He proved that he had the race pace. He had the craft to make the moves. And more importantly, when he was put under pressure, he knew exactly what he needed to do to keep himself in that situation where a lesser head or a lesser experienced head would prevail like Rasmussen did here today. Not to say Rasmussen's a bad driver at all. To be 4.4 seconds behind is still a very good achievement, but what could have been if the mistakes hadn't been there? I think Sebastian Job can be very proud with this. I think he'll take this momentum very much so into the next round and look to try and take a win in the overall instead of looking to just try and take this win in this one race.
Yep, the Brit and the Dane in 1 and 2. Connery, Michael Dinkel, Alex Simpson, 3rd and 4th will be very pleased with that result. And you know, for them, joining a very strong Apex Racing UK team for next year, I don't think they were expecting their young guys to be that quick. Marcus Jensen, Jamie Fluke, Peter Berryman's always been quick, obviously, but you know what? For those two, if they get the license, if they finish in the top 10 in this championship, they join the 40 for next season. I'm very worried that Apex Racing UK here could be one of our best teams next season.
Yep, they could well be, but you also have to remember that Alex Simpson only did 1 race in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series last season, and ended up finishing bottom of the table as a result. But if he wants to come back to this series, he's been doing well, very well with P number 4. He probably will qualify into the WCS next season with more results like that. But I think the focus should be more on Michael Dinkel rather than Simpson.
Yep, exactly. So let's take a look at our final race results for round number 1 of the iRacing Road Pro Series. It's Sebastian Job after 1 hour and 27 minutes with victory for round number 1. He takes the victory, and the 1-2 finish for the Core Sim Racing team with the Dane, Fredrik Rasmussen, coming home in 2nd. And all Apex Racing UK 3rd and 4th, Michael Dinkel, the final podium position today. Riley Preston rounds out the top 5 and 5th for ERT. Josh Rogers came home in 6th. What a wonderful event from Josh Rogers. The young man will be very impressive in the McLaren for sure. The more he learns, the more than experienced Martin van Loosnoord in 7th. The brand new Michael Partington in 8th. Massimiliano Ficara, quiet race. What a splendid job from him. 38 seconds away from victory, followed by Diogo Oliveira in the 10th position. The rest of the drivers on the lead lap, we saw Tommy Oscar with some brilliant overtakes today. He started outside the top 20, came home in 11th there, only 43 seconds away from victory. So brilliant stuff from Tommy. Alex Sadler, a bit of work to do, but he comes home in 12th, just a minute behind, followed by Moritz Lochner, Nicholas Rasmussen, Jorge Montañez, and Giuseppe Ragusa, all on the lead lap. Bobby Zelensky just out there along with Zoran Jonic. The drivers, unfortunately, who didn't finish today, Ricardo Orozco, he was 9 laps behind with a late drama. Fernando Guerrero as well, Boris Spolstra, and Matt Busser earlier on in the event, unfortunately, did not complete round number 1 of the iRacing Road Pro Series for 2017 to 18. So we'll be ready to take a quick commercial break and join us later on for interviews with the drivers. Hopefully they all show up. Maybe not. We don't have enough time. But this has been a brilliant event for round number 1. Don't leave us. Post-race coverage and driver interviews, all exclusive to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. So welcome back to post-race coverage for the iRacing Road Pro Series for 2017 to 18. What a victory for Sebastian Job and for the Core Sim Racing team. And Jake, just a couple of points to note before we speak to Sebastian, our race winner. 1 hour, 27 minutes, but he won by 4 seconds over his teammate. More importantly, 17 seconds over the next nearest competitor. Is that dominance to you over this long event?
That's 17 seconds against his former team, so I think he'd be very, very happy over the result that he's just scored there. And it goes to prove you that when Sebastian Job left Apex for Core, people very much like Isaac Price went, I can't believe he's actually making this move. Is this a right move for a team that doesn't have any World Championship acumen? And I think that it is proof down the line that Sebastian Job's made the right move. He's got a good core of friends. He's improved on his pace over the years, and right now, you have to say, at the age that he is now, where people were touting him as the big young prodigy, I think it was maybe a little bit too early to expect that in the earlier stages of his career. But right now, I think he looks better than he's ever looked before.
Yeah, definitely so. So let's speak to Sebastian Job, our race winner. And Sebastian, welcome to Victory Lane. This is amazing. Talk about your race. You made the overtake on lap 13 of the event. You never looked back on your teammate, Frederick Rasmussen. What an event for you. What a victory.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks. I kind of wasn't very happy with my qualifying, but luckily I still managed to get second. And then I knew I'd have an awful start, so I was actually really happy to be in third by turn one. And then it was just, I knew I had some decent pace. I thought I could get by Michael pretty quickly. I managed that all right, and then it was just about hunting down Freddie and getting a move done. Luckily he didn't fight it too much, I think, which was really good of him, very respectful. And yeah, it was pretty smooth sailing from there, other than the small incident with the lap cars, but it was fine. They apologised, and I'm not too mad about it. So good.
Yeah. Well, don't bring up blue flags with me, please, because I'll rant about it all day. The quick thing I want to ask is, if we backtrack to the start of the event, you just did not get off the line well. You said you were expecting that. You were swamped by the Apex Racing UK cars, especially Michael Dinkel behind. So what was the reasons for that at the start? Was it the uphill start or the dirty side, or any other reasons?
I've just got no confidence starting. We did, because there's two ways you can start in this car, using the clutch or just using the brake, and which is the more conservative way, like using the brake. And that's what I went with, because I practiced using the clutch in our test race, and I went from second to dead last, I think, so, or second to second last, so I wasn't at all confident with that. And yeah, I knew it was the slowest start. I knew they'd be quicker off the line. I was just happy to minimize it to just third.
And talk about your race with Frederick Rasmussen, a good teammate of yours. You're in a new atmosphere. We're hopefully going to see you in the World Championship for next season. I mean, you know, take a victory is a good start here for the Pro Series round number 1, but he's a guy that was putting pressure on you at the end of the race. Is that something you felt, or is it just you two a bit of friendly sort of battle there, friendly banter, not too much pressure on each other?
I felt the pressure quite a bit. I was constantly checking lap times, because even though I'd been told Freddie wasn't going to try and pass me, I didn't like having him right behind, just because if I made a mistake, I knew he'd go straight past, and he's not the one to make many mistakes at all, especially in GT cars. Obviously, he's new to this car, so I think that's why I made a mistake. But yeah, typically he won't ever make a mistake, so I was really worried about having him right behind me. But it's good. We push each other a lot in practice.
Is that a good way to develop as well? Last question, is that?
Yeah,
because as drivers, you know, you can't just be with a team of scrubs. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but you know, you got to push each other as teammates. So,
no, it's great. As soon as I joined the team, I joined the team and I was like 2-3 tenths off Freddie at Road Atlanta in a McLaren GT3, and so like I just instantly started like watching how he drove the GT car and learning, and I think I've improved a lot just from following him. And then in F1 cars, I'm more experienced, so I think like we're pushing each other a lot now in this. And yeah, I'm more experienced, so maybe I've got a bit slightly better pace at the moment, at least I think in this race. But like I'm sure in no time we'll be like battling each other in each car. Like, it's good to push each other like that.
And finally, your thank yous. Anything else? Your sponsors. You got time to thank everybody.
Yeah. all of the people at Core Sim Racing for the help. In particular, I'd like to thank Carl, Isaac, and Pash for all the setup work. They made a really good set, and yeah, that's about it. Just thank you to all the team.
Did you say Pash did setup work? Or is that a joke?
No, he's learned.
He's learned. Oh.
I mean, to be fair, most of the advice he gave me, I didn't actually test.
Oh man!
Because by the time he was giving advice, I'd already got happy with the set, so I didn't actually try any of it. But he was constantly giving input as well, so that was really helpful.
No, well, sort of shots fired, but then backtracked by Sebastian Job, our victor for today's race. Thanks very much, Sebastian. We'll see you next round, hopefully, in victory lane again. Connery, a great event for those two at Core, but let's focus our attention a little bit on Sebastian's former team, Apex Racing UK. You know, brilliant event for Michael Dinkel and Alex Simpson. And you know what? They're not focusing too much on the race victories or anything. Those two guys are experienced. They're older. They're over that kind of stuff. To them, they just want to get the license for next year, join that young team at Apex like we were discussing before, and then really create a great atmosphere and great achievements with that young team.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the objective that they have to go for right now. You know, the race win wasn't really going to be on the cards for them today. Sebastian Job and Rasmussen, they're just way too quick, and it's, you know, and it just showed in the finishing times at the end of the race there, just being 17 seconds behind the race lead. So they'll be happy with P4, P5. Absolutely no problems for those guys.
Jake, I'm going to give you a chance to vote for driver of the day, but you have to give an explanation. It's like an exam question. Driver of the day and why?
Tommy Osgard, mainly because he made 12 positions, and one of the other reasons why he gets driver of the day is because he knows how to drive, and he has taken the real world experience that he's had. He had a job as a simulator developer and coach for young aspiring Formula 3 drivers that he used to have a couple of years ago, and that really did put him in a situation where he was applying himself and learning and getting other drivers to push themselves and develop themselves, very similar to, say, Lando Norris of Team Redline does, part of the McLaren Young Driver Development System. And that experience, and also the real-world experience he had in Formula Renault Clios, that came into his driving today, and that brought him through 12 positions on a track where, yes, you can make overtakes, but the moment you step out of line, someone's going to get involved in an incident. He avoided everything today, drove an almost perfect race, and gained 12 positions and put himself right behind his former teammate Diogo Oliveira. Hats off.
Hats off there, Connery. That's great. I wasn't... That's a great explanation, Connery, and I hope you can give the same too, because I thought Jake was going to say like a sentence. Driver of the day and why?
Well, you're not going to get much because I completely agree with Jake. I think Tommy Ostegard was definitely the driver that just worked his way all the way through the field, pulled off some amazing move. You saw that move around the outside at the Pinarino there early on in the race, and that is just what Tommy Ostegard does. And if he can sort out his qualifying pace, qualify further up the field, who knows? He might be finishing up well inside that top 10, which would be absolutely fantastic for him and his team. But also, part of me kind of wants to give driver of the day to Riley Preston just for finishing a race for once.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it is true. It's just, yeah, it's not a lot he can do about that, unfortunately. But 27 seconds off. I'm sure he's done better than that in the past. So he's, yeah, good job, Riley Preston. I'm not happy with that, Connery, because you copped out. I like Jake's answers better. You can't take Tommy Osgard twice. You know what? I was going to pick Tommy Osgard too, but you both took him. I'm going to pick Sebastian Job. I think Sebastian Job was flawless today after that overtake. Definitely, he wasn't happy with qualifying. I mean, he was half a 100th off. Sorry, half a 10th off. And, yeah, needed to really to make that matter. So now, we're going to wrap up for round number 1 of the iRacing Road Pro Series for 2017 to 18. Now, don't forget the next race will be next Saturday, the 11th of November. That's a 1-week break. 70 laps around the Circuit Gilles in the virtual Montreal, Canada, that hosts round number 2 of the iRacing Road Pro Series. Coverage will begin at 1:30 p.m. GMT as usual. That will be on RaceWhat TV, stream live on iRacing Live. Thanks to you viewers today. We had a whole lot of viewers watching for round number 1 as always. It's been a brilliant broadcast. Thanks to Connery Maddock, Jake Sperry alongside me. I'm Jonathan Simon. Hugo Luis, our producer, Istvan Bilal, who ironically was also racing out there today, was also managing our TV cameras. You talk about guys who can multitask. Great stuff from Istvan Bilal. Andreas Warner from Amware Design, Simon Grossman, Overlay Animations, and Nick Thiesman for racebot.tv/timing. This has been a Racebot TV presentation broadcasted on iRacing Live, as we say so long from the wonderful Interlagos in Brazil.